In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
And you already know it's perfect. What's up, Panther fans? We're back for another edition of the Friday Free-For-All, and we're coming hot with some news, man, because something that Panther fans didn't think would happen actually did. Even my dumbass, who just last Tuesday night was telling everybody that we missed the deadline, we weren't going to sign Taylor Moton. Well, guess what? Yep, that's right. I have egg on my face because Taylor Moton has inked a brand new deal with the Carolina Panthers. We're going to talk about it, but listen, first and foremost, this is your show. This is the Friday Free-For-All. I want you to come in here and speak your mind. Tell me what you think about what's going on in Panther Nation. That's the link to jump in and join in the YouTube chat. I also put it in the description down below. Listen, man, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Boys, Taylor Moton has officially been extended by the Panthers brass and GM, none other than Scott Fitterer. And look who's here, man. Tony Dunn. Oh, I shared the wrong thing. Tony, what's up, brother?
My man. Friday. Look, my hair's all wild. Sorry.
That's all right.
I got 3 kids on my own. My wife went out of town. But the big news of Taylor Moton broke today. And I feel like we sort of talked it into existence in a way. You know, I mean, as in saying it wasn't going to happen. The signs are on the wall that it wasn't going to happen, and it did, and it is what should have happened.
It is what should have happened. And listen, I totally blame Jeremy Fowler. I guess I'll take some of the blame myself. I had thought that the Carolina Panthers had missed the deadline, and boy, let me tell you, Tony, I could not be more happy to be wrong, man. Taylor Moton, look, shout out to John Ellis on Twitter, who provided some little highlights that we're seeing here. But listen, Tony, it's everything that you and I have been saying for months. I mean, even longer than that Taylor Moton is one of the most important members of our offense. And everything that we have been doing and everything that we want to do and everything that we want to improve on, Taylor Moton is such an important piece of that puzzle. And the fact that we were able to sign him, and he's not even like top 5 in the highest paid at his position. I have some.
Now he is. He is. He's the number 1 right guard in the league, I believe. $72 million, 46 guaranteed.
So
it comes up to $18 million a year if you just divide it out. 72 divided by 4 is 18. That's a big chunk of change for I would say a right tackle. I mean, look, and for what we've been saying with, look, I don't know how I'm all excited. My words are in front of my brain. My words are in front of my brain. But for me, it's not even that. Thank God Taylor Moton is very good, right? Taylor Moton has been very good. But at this point in my life, I'm okay with us paying anybody who's kind of good on the offensive line. Please, let's not let good play. We have not addressed the offensive line forever. We talked about this on the past show on Tuesday night. The last top draft pick when it comes to who was our stalwart offensive lineman, it was Jordan Gross. He was drafted in 2003, folks. 2003. We're talking about invading Iraq type years. That's where we were then. It's been that long. And so I'm just thankful that Taylor Moton is a top tier player. But I would have even been upset if he was kind of a mid-top tier player and we still didn't do it.
Hey, yeah, man.
You know, please.
Yeah, no, you're right. Hey, real quick. You're right, Sideshow Rob. It is Dave. Dave from PNP. What's up with you, bro? Thanks for joining the Friday Free-For-All.
What's going on, man? I have some time this Friday. I'm about to head down your way next week, so.
Us now.
Where you heading next week? Man. Where you coming to Carolina?
Yeah, I am. I'm heading down to Columbia.
Where are you at? Where do you live? Where are you resident at?
Rhode Island in East Providence.
Oh, Rhode Island. You're a Yankee. Huh?
Yeah, he's
oh,
far.
Be paying taxes like a motherfucker. I bet you. What's the temperature there right now? What's the temperature there?
It was 85 today, actually.
That's warm.
That's
it
nice.
was 93 here with 100% humidity. Is the worst fucking shit ever, bro. I'm upstairs. My upstairs don't cool right. It's hot up here.
It's the thing is like they don't the houses up here don't have central AC. So it's like pretty much space. Yeah. Like the schools, certain parts of the state, the schools, they don't have central AC. The newer schools that are built do, but a lot of these schools are older, they don't have central AC. You know, because it doesn't get warm for too long of the year, right?
Well, like, wait until you go. Are you going to Spartanburg? Are you going to training camp? Is that why you're coming down?
I'm not. Rashad is. I'm going down to go visit my parents. I haven't seen my parents since.
You know, Columbia is like one of the hottest cities on the history of the earth. It's all concrete. It is hot as fuck, man. So Spartanburg is the worst, though. I'm telling you,
Spartanburg's bad.
It's awful. It's the armpit of hell.
Yeah, Spartanburg's bad, but the thing is, one thing that Spartanburg does have, they have some really cheap drinks in Spartanburg.
Yeah, they have some great breweries too. You're right.
Yeah, like we found first time we went to training camp a few years back, we found this bar downtown Spartanburg. We paid $3 for Long Island's, and it was pretty much a wrap. Once me and Rashad found out.
Welcome to the Carolinas, bro. We have cheap drinks. Hot girls and a lot of humidity.
I've lived up here for so long. I'm from there. I mean, I've been in Columbia. I lived my first 17 years of my life is in Columbia. So, but
Dave, man, I definitely appreciate you coming in and talking with us, man, because this is big news, and I really I want to get your opinion on if you even saw this being in the cards for us. But before we go any further, I wanted to do a real quick breakdown of what exactly we're looking at here. Taylor Moton signed a 4-year, $72 million contract with the Carolina Panthers, including $43 million guaranteed and an average annual salary of $18 million. In 2021, Moton will earn a base salary of $13,754,000 while carrying a cap hit of $13,754,000. And damn, like, listen, I really.
But the question is that the tag number? Because that might not have taken a new contract.
That is the tag number. Yeah, that's exactly. You're right. That is. It's the tag number. 72. All we know is that, or at least from what I've seen, is I read the story on the Panthers.com, which was nothing. Right. Not nothing. I'm not saying he did a shitty job, but there were 0 numbers involved. The only numbers that I've heard are the Adam Schefter or whatever, 4 years, $72 million, 46 guaranteed or something like that.
So the 43 guaranteed.
43. Okay.
The 43 million guaranteed can get split within a 5-year period. So
and they also count the first year of the salary to that too. So like because if he put you can't cut him in 2021, right? So they count his 2021 salary and the guaranteed money. So it could be like something like, I don't know, like 33 million guaranteed, and then his first year salary of like say 8 million or something that gets you up to close to that.
Yeah, we won't until we get more details of the structure. And knowing Rashad, he's probably trying to look for those numbers, and then we'll have an idea. But there's talks that it's been front loaded, but we don't know yet. We'll find out.
It's short loaded. How about that? And I'm okay with that. It's a 4-year deal. Right? We didn't overboard it. Like the 5-year deals are cool because you stretch the money out. Right. Yeah. But at the same time, you do stretch the existence of the contract out. And so look, is that we're kind of paying him, I think, to be a top tier right tackle and to earn all those years. And in year 3, maybe we're talking about restructuring. Maybe we're talking about extending even.
Well, listen, how about Scott Fitterer, man? Like, I think we all kind of thought that once Ryan Ramczyk got paid, we were kind of like, oh, shit, we just got priced out. He's definitely going to play under the tag now because that just drove the price up. I think this tells us 2 things. I think it tells us, one, Taylor Moton didn't want to go anywhere else. Taylor Moton kind of sees what we're building here, and he loves the Carolinas, and I think he wants to be here. And I also think, listen, man, obviously we still have to see what Sam Darnold turns into, granted. But dude, when you look at the free agent signings mixed with the draft and what they did in the draft, how they went about it, now we're able to re-sign Taylor Moton, and he's tied with Lane Johnson for the 6th highest paid right tackle in the NFL. There's other guys that are still getting paid more than him. Like, we were able to extend him and not really even break the bank in a ridiculous way. I'm loving this deal. I think this has really, it kind of benefits everyone. Like, is there any negative to any of this? Or am I wrong in saying, like, this is damn near a dream scenario for us signing Taylor?
I'm happy they did it. I'm happy they did it. Because for me, from my perspective, it was more of I was afraid that they weren't going to do it. And I think when the Ramczyk deal came down and we're like 1 week to go before the deadline of getting the deal done, I'm like, if they don't do this now, we're losing them after 2021.
I agree. Right. Like, if you let a cat go into the franchise tag, you're saying that it's probably not going to happen. Right. Is that like his value doesn't go down then? No. Here is, according to overthecap.com, Taylor Moton signed a 5-year, $85 million contract with the Carolina Panthers. Moton received $43 million fully guaranteed at signing. Moton received a $15 million signing bonus, and his 2020 through 2023 base salaries are guaranteed. If on the roster the third day of the 2023 league year, Moton will earn a $6.6 million roster bonus. If on the roster on the third day of 2024 and 2025, Moton will get an additional $3 million each year. He's been designated as a franchise player by the Panthers prior to signing the contract. The new contract creates $9.75 million in cap space. It's according to overthecap.com. It looks like this, if we're just looking at what Over the Cap is showing, is that things kick in next year. 2022, you're going to get hit with he's going to cost $19 million against the salary cap next year.
Yeah. Cheap cap hit this year. Big cap
hit this. And we're supposed to have a lot more money, though, next year. That's what everybody tells me, right? So if there is a year to have $3 or $4 million where a player's not overpaid, but a little blustered on the cap, that is the year to have it. And it looks like this is that, here we go, 2023, you're looking at $20 million cap hit.
That's not
it's
bad.
Not until, basically this is a 3-year deal. Not basically, it's more than that. But in 2024, you can start to talk about getting out of it if you wanted to.
2023, you could talk about getting out of it.
Nah, $20 million dead money.
Yeah, but
you
still save money.
Look at that. No, 800,000. That's it. Nothing. It's 2024.
You would like if
2024 is the year.
Yeah, 2024, 2025, you could really save a lot on the cap. But it's a good structured deal, and he's getting paid handsomely considering.
It was just necessary. It's just necessary. At some point, if y'all are all going to talk shit about the offensive line, and I've heard it. I've been in that Panthers creator group, and all they do is just shit.
That's all I do.
And look,
I'm a nice guy.
Last year, I hate to say it, last year was the best offensive line we've had in a long time. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but
that's scary.
It's true.
But it's scary.
It is scary.
That's scary, bro.
Well, what was it the years before? It was terrifying the years before. That's my point. Is that we just went from a terrifying movie to a scary movie. I'm fine with that.
But the thing is, with our quarterback, he just because he's used to scary doesn't make it okay.
Well, not anymore. We don't have Cam anymore, so we can't.
That's what we all can agree on, right? That it's like no matter what, our plans going forward all looked better involving Taylor Moton. Like, that's just a fact. I think it was T Money on one of the Friday Free for All shows. I think it was the first one I did. He made the point that it's like, man, the Panthers don't develop offensive line talent, and if we do, we let them walk. Like, the two best examples that we could come up with of guys that were homegrown talents that we built up into something. That was the 3 interior guys we had during Cam's MVP season: Andrew Norwell, Ryan Khalil, and Trey Turner. Like, outside of those 3 dudes, the Panthers don't really put a lot into really building up and coaching good offensive linemen. Like, we're all thinking that Greg Little is already a bust. Like, most of Panther Nation has written him off as Greg Little is a bust. Right. So all the more that when you have a player like Taylor Moton, who was drafted in the second round, who, in my opinion, gets better every single year.
He's available too. He's available.
But the fact that we were able to build him up and turn him into the player that he is, and not just to have to recycle him for another team to benefit from, I love that, man. I don't want to see good talent walk out of the doors when we spent so much time and effort building them into the player that they are.
No, I'm with you there. I think ever since Jordan Gross left, we really haven't made a conscious effort to fix the tackle position, period, right? And Taylor Moton's probably the only example of that. Like, we're good
and that's barely. And to be honest, that's barely. I mean, like, he was a second-round pick. We had to trade up for him because Buffalo moved in front of us to get whoever. Do you remember that? Buffalo jumped right in front of us and picked whatever that guy was, and then we picked Moton the very next pick. So there was even questions if that was the intentional pick, if Buffalo took our pick. But the very fact that we're continuing to say Jordan Gross's name on this podcast is ridiculous.
It says everything. It says everything.
He was drafted when we invaded Iraq. That's it. As there are people who are listening to this podcast that weren't even fucking born then. That's when he was drafted. And you're right, is that if all of this dovetails, Cody, together, where all of our positions align, is that the Carolina Panthers have just done too little to try. In fact, it's arguable that they haven't even tried to fix the offensive line. In fact, I was on a radio show today, and they had the Washington football team. They were doing the fan preview, so they had a Washington football guy on. And it's just funny to hear as they franchised Brandon Scherf. They did not extend him. They let Morgan Moses go. They let another guard go. And it's just back to, I said, good luck, folks. This is what Ron Rivera is going to do. He's going to sacrifice that offensive line so he can sign Daron Payne and sign, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's all trying to win with that defense. He don't give a fuck about the offensive line.
Hey, well, thank God Ron Rivera is no longer a problem of ours, but we have another guest, Aaron Dunk on Demand, aka Unnecessary Bluntness. What's going on with you, bro?
What up, though? What's going on, fellas?
Chilling, dog. We're talking about this Taylor Moton contract. And a shout out to you, man, because I wouldn't have seen it if it wasn't for you retweeting it. That list of Taylor Moton, a bunch of other guys are, I think 6 guys are higher paid at the position than him. So, yeah, man, what say you, man? What do you think about this brand new Taylor Moton contract?
See, man, I wasn't with. I mean, regardless of what the number was going to be, I wasn't going to be mad. I mean, unless he signed for like 20 M's, like quarterback, like backup quarterback money, I would have been mad. But like you said before I got on here, like we've never really made a point to invest in the offensive line. And like I talked to you about it before, Cody. I think you kind of argued with me about the city of Charlotte, but it's not a big time like franchise market. So we're going to have to grow the team through the draft. If we're not going to be a hot market for free agents to just come and ball out. Not that's the way that you win in the NFL, but getting some big names ever so often helps. But we're going to have to be a homegrown team, which is fine if you know how to evaluate talent and draft, which we hope Scott Fitterer is. But when you have a guy like this, that, like I said, is homegrown, you had the franchise tag, so you got some extra time to negotiate. And obviously that was critical because you waited till the last second, to get the deal done. But like I said, I wasn't going to be mad at the number regardless. I just knew that I figured they wouldn't do anything like too bad, like this was a different regime. So I wanted to kind of go in with no expectations as far as that. They made me nervous, but I had a feeling that they weren't going to pay too much money. But I kind of made a point on Twitter also. This is probably the first big time contract negotiation. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey had the extension, but Fitterer wasn't part of that regime. And he wasn't in the last year of his deal anyway. So it was a little bit different circumstances, but there's a lot more coming up with Robbie and DJ and guys like that. Obviously, Brian Burns is going to be down the pipeline a little bit. Dante too, and stuff like that. So I just wanted to kind of see. I wanted to go in no expectation just to see how Scott played this situation. I hate the procrastinating, so hopefully it's just a one-time deal because of the cap situation with COVID. But I'm just happy they got it done, and we'll see how the other contract situations play out in the future. But happy we got our guy.
Do you all think that this signals? Do you all think that this signals a change in the way that the Panthers are going to evaluate and prioritize offensive linemen going forward, or is it just a case of
the draft?
So here's my
reasonable.
Hear me.
This is just being reasonable.
No, hear me out. My thing about this is this, because Scott Fitterer came from a franchise that historically really didn't take care of the offensive linemen.
Yep.
So I think I had a certifiable fear that this deal was not going to get done. Like I pretty much let it out on Monday about it.
Same. We all thought that.
Huh?
Yeah, we all thought that pretty much.
Yeah, because my thing was, I was like, yo, if he's going to be like he was in Seattle, then there ain't no deal that's going to get done here.
Yeah.
So when it happened, I was like, great. And everybody was like, well, I was, some folks were like, I'm looking forward to David Ram. I was like, nah, I had nothing to say. I said what I said. If it wasn't going to get done by the deadline, it wasn't going to happen. Because we would have been, and Russ is known as he's a top 10 quarterback in this league. And no offense to Darnold, but he's not, right? So we would have gotten that man killed.
And Russell Wilson has legs, so I think that's probably
and he has
a
legs.
little bit of a factor why
we would have got that man.
Sam Darnold got legs too.
It's
no offense. It is no offense to tell Sam Darnold he's not a top 10 quarterback. I mean, that's also just a reasonable statement.
At least
I just want to make sure. Have to preface it with no offense,
at least not until proven otherwise. Okay.
Right. Well, okay. I mean, we're hoping.
Man.
I think everybody. I want to ask you this.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Do you believe that DJ Moore's a top 10 receiver in the league?
You know, I think so.
No.
I think so. I do. I do. I'll stand on that. He just needs the quarterback to help him get it done. And if Sam Darnold can do that.
Well, he's missing one stat. He's missing one stat, and that's just touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Unless you get double-digit touchdowns, you ain't in the top 5, in my opinion. But the reason I asked this question.
I could argue another thing that he has to improve upon, but everybody hates it when I talk about it, and that's his catch percentage. His catch percentage. His catch percentage.
So here is my question, is that in an ideal world, in 3 or 4 years, do you see DJ Moore being on this team? In an ideal world, in a perfect world,
do
you see him continuing to be great and getting better from year to year?
You're basically asking if he's getting an extension, which I think he will.
Yeah, he'll get an extension.
If so, then I am a proponent. And I think this is what this has been my criticism of like with the Moton shit. I kind of think we should have done it last year. Like, you get ahead of it. If you really, truly believe, right, is that right now you could, if you went to DJ Moore and you said this, we ain't going to get in the 5th-year option joint, and he might actually be in the 5th-year option right now. I don't even know. But, like, we don't have to get you to the point where you have the most negotiating power. We're ready to give you some money to make you feel comfortable. We believe in you. But this is that when you put this up to the deadline with Taylor Moton, you enhanced his value. You increased his value. True. You yourself did that. And if they wouldn't have done this year and they franchised him, tagged him next year, it would have only been more expensive for 2 reasons. You have inflation, right? Just natural inflation that happens from year to year. Every contract gets bigger from year to year. And then second, you inflated the value by making him get paid more this year. So that's what I'm saying, is that if you guys truly believe that DJ Moore is this talent that could bud into this crazy ass receiver, he's only 24 years old or whatever, why don't you start thinking about playing it now? Because I don't think Robbie Anderson is in the cards, even though I love him. I do think this is his last year in Carolina, unless he's just going to take a very friendly deal because he likes Matt Rule.
I mean,
they don't draft Terrace Marshall if they had intentions of keeping Robbie Anderson after
and Shy.
And Shy.
Yeah.
Y'all love these receivers too much.
I
got a question. Cody gushes over these dudes. Cody thinks they're going to be like all 1,000-yarders.
More ready than ever before.
You don't draft 2 wide receivers if you have intentions to keep DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson.
That's insurance. Insurance. The same way we had like, kind of.
So if you're forcing me to pick, I want them to pay DJ. Right? Yeah. If you're forcing me to pick.
So why don't we start negotiating now then?
Is there any situation where DJ gets let go? Where we don't sign on to a deal?
Well, and no, that's a better question. And in my opinion, it depends on this man right here. Like a lot of people are already saying, hey man, Terrace Marshall might be a dark horse candidate to lead the league or at least lead the receiver class in touchdowns. Dang. And I think that the sky's the limit for this dude. I think dude,
I've been waiting on a number 2 receiver in Carolina for 1 billion years, bro. We ain't had a number 2 tandem since.
Yeah, but you're jaded, man. You're not
Smitty and Moose. That's it.
Based on what they do, man. Terrace Marshall is a dog Shy. Smith
so we're not counting more. We're not counting more in Robbie. I mean, they both had 2,000-yard receivers last year. I mean,
not enough touchdowns. Not enough touchdowns, man. And I know that's not their fault. I think it was close. How about this? That was probably the closest we've gotten, but nobody's sitting here thinking we got the double duo at this point. Even though I like Robbie the most. Like, that's my dude, man. That guy had balls, dude.
No, like you said, if you don't get touchdowns, it doesn't matter because they were one of the most productive duos in the league all season. Like, it wasn't even like they just came on the scene late. They were like literally all season. They were one of the most productive duos. I mean, even DJ had a late blooming season, but without touchdowns, like you said, you're not gonna get the clout that you deserve because you can rack up yards all day, especially in garbage time and stuff.
And if you just kicking a field goal at the end, it don't really matter. Well,
this is an interesting.
Like it's just 20 to 20.
But like I said, answer my question. Is there any situation on the team?
But it's an interesting conversation, right? Because yesterday on the Rob Brown show, when Rashad was on, they talked about the fact that Joe Brady's offense is good from 20 to 20. And Sam Darnold is one of the worst quarterbacks in the red zone. So,
well, he's also one of the worst quarterbacks everywhere at this point. So, I mean, like, it's not like, I mean, like, you can't, like, just, you can't be like, oh, I mean, like, it's not enough.
My point is that there's a level of improvement that has to be had.
He's terrible at 3rd and long. Well, no shit.
No, but the thing is, Joe Brady's offense, period, is not good when they get in the red zone. And this isn't the thing that just.
I don't think that's fair. But it's
the same thing with LSU.
One is y'all's boy, and I'm gonna put it on y'all. Teddy Bridgewater he ain't good in the red zone. Yeah. You want to talk about another guy that won't good in the red zone?
My thing is,
and I think this is a question about and to circle it back to DJ, that's important. It's 4 touchdowns. He's had 2 or 3 1,000-yard seasons back to back.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's really starting to come around. He's starting to look better throughout. He gets stronger throughout the season. But that 4 touchdown number, that's it. Curtis Samuel had more than 4 touchdowns in his rookie year. He only had 20 catches. But he's 30 you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I mean, I know that's a ridiculous thing, but if you don't do it if you ain't getting touchdowns, you ain't getting paid.
Again, I argue that DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel were victim of terrible circumstances. One injured Cam Newton. Then they had Ron Rivera in his final years and the way he would misuse players. Then Kyle Allen, the Teddy Bridgewater. Like, again, we never got to see the best of Curtis Samuel here either. And I think so far that's true for everyone. What I'm saying is that DJ Moore, the only way he's going to factor into our plans is if he has the type of season that is truly indicative of a number 1 from both a yards perspective and a touchdown perspective.
We got to have the discussion about Joe Brady's offense, guys.
David, one question though. I understand. Look, is that they're again not prolific in the red zone, right? You're not wrong. But if you go back for the last 3 years before that, guess what? We weren't in the red zone either. Like it's been a problem for the Panthers since 2017 in the red zone. We settling up for field goals for way too long, man.
I mean,
and you know what, Matt? Arguably, it might go back further than that. To be honest, like, why do you? I mean, Dave Gettleman tried to draft the Twin Towers for Funchess and Benjamin because of, in some ways, that continued problem. But just like our greatest red zone threat for 7 years was just with Cam up the middle,
but
or
also
the bootleg to Greg Olsen.
But the thing is, the bottom line is you had a threat. And I'm
not at receiver though. We haven't had a receiver threat in the red zone ever in a long time.
Speaking of receiver threat, shout out to one of the most loved and hated wide receivers, Ted Ginn Jr. on his retirement today. Shout out to my man.
He retired today?
Yeah, he retired officially, man. 14 years, man. 14
Did he drop
years.
the paperwork? Did he drop the paperwork?
He dropped it on Twitter.
Damn, Tom, you messed up, bro.
Ted Ginn, he led us to a Super Bowl at wide receiver, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was.
Shout out to my boy.
Hey,
Stone
listen,
hands,
for real,
Ted Ginn.
This man was our #1 wide receiver during Cam Newton's best, most prolific year, man.
You're right.
And that season is not the season that it is without the deep threat playmaking ability of Ted Ginn Jr., man. So it's like, look,
If
we
he
don't want to
catches
talk
it,
about
he's
this
nice,
lot.
bro.
My
But
favorite
yeah,
play,
man.
Carolina, not a doubt in that.
Got to be that bomb against the Raiders where he caught. And I like to play when we beat the Falcons 38-0 at home in the 2015 season.
What was the one? Was the Raiders
Raiders
one? Was it the Raiders or the Dolphins? That one where he caught it in the back of the end zone?
That was the Saints.
On his
No, that was
on
the
his
Saints.
2 fingers.
Oh.
It was
that was the Saints.
like Cam threw like an 80-yard, or it wasn't that far, but it was like a 40-yard pass, and it was like, this is out of bounds. It's out of bounds. Right? Yeah, like, and he and he caught it, and like, I mean,
that was Saints. I think that was Saints Monday night game out there. I can't remember what year that was.
No, that was the same game that Luke Kuechly got that bad concussion.
Yeah, he was crying.
But, hey man, welcome Team Money to the stream. Team Money, what's up?
Team Money in this thing.
What's up, fella? What's up?
Team Money ain't got no video today.
I'm not about to.
Hey, it's cool, man. No,
Team Money. Does Joe Brady have a red zone problem?
Yeah, there it is.
Does Joe Brady have a red zone problem, Team Money?
I don't think so.
Y'all are bugging.
Especially when McCaffrey was there, because McCaffrey was still one of the one of the team leaders in touchdowns in them 3 little games he played.
So, David, let me ask you this. When you say that LSU even had red zone problems, did they have problems, or were they just not in the red zone because they were able to score from the 50-yard line all the time?
Yeah, I mean, I think that might have been the factor, though. But, like, the thing is, the way that Joe Brady's offense is built, like, it ain't built for situations where you're within the 20s. Like, when you're within the red zone, that offense is easy to, like, your options are limited at that point. You kind of have to.
Well, isn't that true with every offense? Like, the closer you get to the goal line, it becomes a defender for the defense in a way.
I mean, he just got to be more creative, man. Like, if we talking about him coming from this Saints system, I mean, you could say it, a lot of Sean Payton's concepts are like in the red zone are gimmicky. He runs some motion. He'll run a end around to a tight end or Kamara. He'll sneak a fullback out every so often, dump off to the tight end. Of course, well, we don't use a tight end, but he gets a little bit gimmicky towards the red zone. I mean, it works because the formations that he runs, you can do so many things off of. You just got to get creative. You know, you can make up for a lot of the shortcomings. You just have to, like I said, you just got to be creative.
I just hope.
Space.
I think that's, if there's one hole in that offense of Brady's offense, it's that. Because even though we do have people that are capable to get at the 50 and then get a good playoff, because like somebody like a Robbie Anderson or a DJ Moore, or when we had Curtis Samuel, maybe Terrence Marshall could step up to the plate. That's why I think Dan Arnold's going to be a big factor, because now we're going to have a weapon in the damn red zone with him. I think that's going to help out a lot.
Yeah, a lot more size.
But some of that, can we blame on Joe Brady though? Because like DJ's never had a lot of touchdowns, and I feel like that's the knock of why people don't put him in that
4
upper.
He got 4. That's the most he's ever had in the season is 4.
Yeah.
And one of those was a 72 pass to the house, which, by the way, was Teddy Bridgewater's longest pass of the season, where he broke a tackle and then took it to the house. And everybody's like, look, Teddy Bridgewater had 284 yards. And you're like, well, it came on one play, and it was
Robbie had on a bomb.
Run play.
Robbie's was 75? Or 70?
Another, no, it wasn't that far. But Robbie's
was 75.
That's another blown cut. What is that? That week one? That week one joint?
Yeah, the Raiders, yeah.
Yeah.
But Teddy didn't throw it that far.
Do you guys? I gotta go in just a minute. So I want to ask this question as we continue with the Joe Brady offense. I have been on record with this coaching staff as I was optimistic when they came in because I had no reason to not to be, but I wanted them to work. You know what I'm saying? Like new coach, new stuff. I mean, I want it to be better.
Yeah.
So I wasn't trying to poo-poo it from the beginning. I had some trepidation when it came to Joe Brady coming in from a limited role in college as being a passing coordinator and not really owning an entire offensive program coming into the NFL. And I thought he did fine. I didn't feel like we were out of sorts or, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't so problematic where I don't believe he could do the job. In fact, I'm positively encouraged. But I saw a story on Panthers.com last week about how Joe Brady, it was about it was that Dan Arnold taking the next step story. Mm-hmm. And Joe Brady said that his offense is built on the tight ends being a big part. And the only question I have after that is, well, what the fuck was the problem last year then? Because there was no part where the tight ends were any part of the offense. So if it's so central to your offense, what the hell happened last year? I mean,
then it goes back to that discussion.
That bad? Is he that
then
bad?
It goes back to that discussion, Tony. So then you wonder, okay, if the tight ends are such a big factor, I wonder why. Maybe because they actually utilize those tight ends in the red zone. So if you don't have a tight end that's utilized in the red zone and you're not utilizing it, then it ain't we're gonna be terrible in the freaking red zone. Because obviously not interested in passing the wide receivers in the red zone.
Right. Yeah, so, I agree. So I do think that's a real conversation to be had at that point.
I mean, I like Tommy Tremble. I like Dan Arnold. That's why I think Ian Thomas is going to struggle to make the team this year. Stephon Sullivan knows the offense. I mean, because he played.
Why is he so bad, guys? Tell me why Ian Thomas. We were so hype on him after year one. We were hype on Ian Thomas. He was catching the balls everywhere. He was coming out. What happened?
He's going to be another Cameron Artis-Payne, man.
Shut up. That's my favorite player.
He is going to be.
Damiere Byrd. If y'all talk shit about Damiere Byrd and Cameron Artis-Payne on this podcast, you get booted.
I like Byrd.
I'm leaving.
Yeah, but look, I'm not wrong. Listen,
me too.
Ian had a ton of potential coming out, but he caught the tail end of Ron Rivera not really using him correctly, and then even last year, Joe Brady, I mean that's one legitimate criticism for David against Joe Brady is that tight ends, especially last year in the NFL for him, were pretty much non-existent. Now, I can say that through our draft and through our free agency, I do think that we might potentially see the next evolution of what Joe Brady does. Now that we did draft Tommy Tremble, we did bring Dan Arnold, and you have Christian McCaffrey coming back, and you drafted Chuba Hubbard to help you in the red zone as well. So, also, again, Terrace Marshall, when he was at LSU, when he was healthy, he was their number one red zone threat. So, again, it's like we understand that red zone is a problem for us, and it does seem like the Panthers coaching staff knows that and is trying to add the right pieces to fix it.
I think Ian, because when he got drafted, I remember kind of the sense, he was a third rounder or a fifth rounder, one of the two?
Fifth?
Yeah, it was like fifth.
Yeah, I mean, granted, you can find some gems. Like, I don't know, William Kittle was picked and Kelsey was
third. Yeah. All of them were third. There's never been a great tight end picked in the top 10, except for maybe like Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, so you can find some gems, but I think Ian, his skill set is not perfect. However, I thought we were like the idea was him to just be mentored by Greg and all this and that, and then boom, Greg breaks his foot in week one. It's like, oh hell, we got to put fucking Ian Thomas in the game, like without. He
did all right.
He needed a red shirt.
Right that first year.
He did okay. He needed a red shirt though. I think he needed to sit down and learn more. And if Greg Olsen's in rehab in the training room, granted he's gonna be in film sessions and stuff too. But if he's not on the field giving him tips and live action and in drills, you know what I'm saying? It may have hindered his development. You know what I'm saying?
Because people forget that Ian Thomas was one of those basketball players turned into football players.
Yeah, but he doesn't really use all his athleticism. He runs, but he's not agile. He doesn't really jump. He doesn't use his size like that, like a basketball player would. I mean, He has good.
Yeah, but I was just saying that translation still to
he has
playing tight end, and that's why you can't block at all, really.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, he doesn't have any kind of like edge to him at all. Like, I don't know, man. I want him to do good, but I
don't think
Matt
he's
Rule's
not
been bragging
team.
about him. He may have had a good offseason the way Matt Rule's been talking.
I don't
believe
think
anything Matt Rule says. So
I don't think he's making the team.
I think he's gonna get cut too. That's why I say I don't believe anything Matt Rule says.
So how many tight ends do y'all think we keeping?
2, probably what?
2.
Who do we have at fullback?
You gotta have 3, man.
I don't
believe that. Like you can't go a season. What if one person gets hurt? What
if they keep all right, I'll give you a hot take. If they keep 3, Ian Thomas still doesn't make the team.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's
behind him. Colin Thompson,
Arnold, and Colin Thompson.
It's gonna be Trump. It's gonna be Dan Arnold, Tommy Tremble, Stephon Sullivan. Those are your 3.
Never heard of him.
I don't know what Stephon Sullivan is. I think Colin Thompson. Then they just signed to a deal, and they like him on special teams.
Stephon Sullivan played for LSU when Joe Brady was there.
Okay.
Part of the reason why they signed him for Carolina. He already knows the offense.
And we know that tight ends, and we know tight ends were central to that. Hey, Cody, I gotta run. I got kids downstairs. My wife is out of
jumping in, dude. Yeah,
my wife is out of town, so I got kids downstairs. I want to say this is first. Thank you to all the wonderful guests. Thank you to the people in the chat room. We're here on Tuesday night, C3 Panthers podcast, longest running Panthers podcast. Call in the show, be a part of the community. Join the Discord, all that joint. Thanks, Cody, for hosting this. See you guys later.
Don't run away. Tony's leaving, but I'm
later,
still
brother.
Gonna stay. Yeah, later, Tony. I appreciate you stopping in, man. But listen, while I have you all here, I wanted to talk about something just because it's kind of that Panthers news story that just doesn't go away. And you might kind of already have an idea of what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna play this video, and I'm gonna let y'all hear it, and then I'm gonna just ask everybody to react a little bit.
Of course, Cody. He ain't letting this go.
You know. Can you hear it?
Legal situation that is ongoing. But to Sheffy's point, if and when that is resolved and he is eligible to play again, you're aggressive to try.
You can't hear it though.
Complicated trying to talk about.
If the volume would work.
Yeah, the volume's up and up. I can hear it now. Just play it again.
This because you have to compartmentalize. He has a very serious legal situation that is ongoing. But to Sheffy's point, if and when that is resolved and he is eligible to play again, you were telling me this morning that it's something of an open secret in league circles that Philly is a likely destination?
No question about Greeny. If you think about their situation, they have 3 number 1 picks. I put them absolutely number 1 to try to acquire Deshaun Watson. He would make them an instant contender for years to come if they could get that done. Ironically, the other 2 teams, in my opinion, are Carolina and Miami. And Miami and Philadelphia made a trade.
So really, that's it. He just mentions Carolina as another one of these destinations that Deshaun could potentially land in. And even though that was mainly about the Eagles, this move at Taylor Moton has just continued to get me to think, right? You know,
I don't know if I'll trust the man that says the Eagles getting Deshaun Watson makes them an automatic contender.
Well, stop right there. But first, before we even do that, I'm going to give a shout out to Sheena Quick because Sheena Quick called this weeks ago. Sheena Quick said that the Eagles are the ones that are pretty much heavy in demand to try to get Deshaun Watson. They've been pushing very hard,
and they have all the picks too. They have like 3 number 1 picks in 2022. Wow. So they got all the capital to do so. But just thinking about it too, like how long of a leash does Sam have? You know, especially if this has any chance of being cleared up this year. We also don't know if he's going to end up serving any suspension. But knowing that, you know, we signed Taylor Moton, we're going to have more money next year to be able to put into the offensive line. We have DJ Moore coming up, but we got Terrace Marshall, Shi Smith. Like, we have the pieces. We have the weapons. Is this just like the story that won't die and needs to? Or could any of you actually see Deshaun being in the cards for us if Sam all of a sudden, for whatever reason, just takes a nosedive early into the season?
There is no leash on Sam Darnold if we have a chance to get Deshaun Watson. There's just a collar. We're just gonna grab his ass by the collar and get him the fuck out of here.
Let me tell you something. Aaron. I'm gonna be clear with you guys. I'm gonna make this as clear as possible. I want you guys to understand exactly what I'm saying.
Oh Lord.
If we're out here thinking about a third quarterback in the Matt Rule regime, there won't be a Matt Rule regime after this point.
I mean,
but for Deshaun though,
Deshaun Watson,
dude, you don't like. Here's my point: the moment we traded for Mr. Darnold, that ended Justin Fields. That ended Deshaun getting traded for Deshaun Watson. The moment that happened, that ended that because they made a decision that this is the guy that he's going to roll with. I don't think Tepper's going to let this man get a third chance at a quarterback. I really don't.
That's what makes it. It's not even the coaches or anything like that. It's David Tepper. This man's a billionaire. He's not used to being told no. And to go from hurt Cam Newton, they thought Teddy Bridgewater was going to be worth a damn, and it wasn't. And then on top of that, if Sam Darnold sucks a big one, bro, David Tepper is going to throw however many billions of dollars around that he needs to. And I honestly think he's going to try and bring Deshaun back home, especially, again, I don't know what's going to happen with all his legal issues. None of us do. But if they end up getting resolved, dude, David Tepper is going to move heaven and earth to make this happen, I think.
I think if Deshaun gets his stuff straightened out this year, like before the season starts or early in the season, I think it's no shot that we would. They're gonna have to give Darnold a year,
no way. Yeah,
especially after you pass up on Justin Fields, because they would say, "Well, you're gonna trade for Deshaun. Why you didn't just take Justin Fields, who would be way cheaper than taking on Deshaun Watson's contract?"
We had Justin Fields sitting there at 8. We had Fields sitting there at 8. And they said, nah, on a rookie deal. And they said, nah, we traded for Darnold.
True, but Deshaun Watson
is different. I think the fan base needs to understand
for almost 40 touchdowns in the season. Justin Fields has yet to proven to be anything in the NFL yet. So again, that's the difference.
A bird in the hand is better than two in the bush.
Tepper has all the money in the world, but it's still a business. It's still economics. And if you had a chance to get a Justin Fields who could be a future, who looks like he'll probably will be a future with franchise, you could have had him on a rookie deal instead of, if you trade for Deshaun, you're going to have to pay Deshaun 30, 40, 50 million a year. And I just don't see it. If we were going to have a shot, it would have to be Deshaun sits out the whole year.
Yeah.
I think if it happens anytime soon, we have no chance. We're not going to do it. We're not going to pull a trigger.
He's getting at least 8.
Because not even that. If you feel confident in the team that you have right now, and you do it during the season or right before the season, you're going to have to wait on Deshaun to learn the offense, all that kind of stuff. And then we don't need that excuse that Deshaun was struggling because he had to figure out the offense. He was rusty from not playing. I just don't see it if it's this year. If Deshaun sits out the whole year and Darnold has a bad year and they pull a Teddy on him, then maybe. But
the thing that people keep saying is, like, if Darnold has a bad year, right? Let's say Darnold has a bad year. If Darnold has a bad year, we're sitting at 3 to 5 wins. Fair? Is that a fair assessment? If Darnold has a terrible,
if it's bad, maybe even worse.
I don't think
so.
So
all right. So if Darnold has a bad year,
a par for course year, like his norm, or like,
no, a terrible year.
He's just saying
he's playing terrible. That's great.
He's saying if it goes bad, like, I don't think it'll be 3 or 5 wins.
If Darnold goes bad, I think we still win 6 games at least.
So our schedule so 6-11, 6-11 is a top 10 pick.
Are you talking more so? I mean, yeah, but it's it's number 8 again.
Hear me out. So 6-11 is a top 10 pick, right? So if we're sitting,
we'll probably be around where we was at this year.
Yeah, somewhere between 8 and 11.
So if we have a pick like that, right, we would be like, well, why don't we just take a quarterback at this point? Why do we need to use up all this draft capital to go get? It'll be the same situation with Justin Fields this year, right?
Because we need a left
tackle. And again, we act like we don't know our fan base, even for Deshaun. If we were the fan base to give up 2, 3, 4 first round picks, we know Cody would be satisfied and Cody would be happy. But we know our fan base.
We'd be pissed.
Half the fan base would be ready to kill them for that.
Listen, everybody
would be ready to give up that draft.
Everybody would be all upset and all pissed off at what we gave up for all of like 2 months, bro. But then I'm telling you, once you saw Deshaun Watson balling on the field wearing the Carolina blue, y'all will forget all those damn draft picks in the blink of a fucking eye, bro. I'm telling you.
But our fan base, you already know our fan base is finicky. If it don't work, we hate it. And everybody knew it wasn't gonna work.
And the thing is, God forbid, like if we got if he gets hurt again or something else happens with him after we trade for that guy, we're gonna be sitting there like, yo, we're terrible, and we gotta give up our.
I knew we should have gave up 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah, man, we're gonna be out here if that happens.
But does it not make it better?
No, if he gets hurt, like if he gets hurt and we end up being terrible.
But like the fact that we did it before this season, though, and we were still able to get J.C. Horn, we're still able to get Terrace Marshall. Like if we would have done it before this draft, then yeah, it would have been steep, and we wouldn't have had the roster to even put around Deshaun. But like, let's say, Deontay Brown and David Moore show up and do something, and Shi Smith and Terrace Marshall, and it looks like Cam Irving or fucking someone is a serviceable left tackle. Like, hey, if it looks like we have the squad, like Deshaun might literally be the missing piece if Sam isn't looking like he's what we want him to be.
Well, let's backpedal a little bit to go off.
But the only way we would get him, it would have to be a Deshaun saying, "I'm not going anywhere but Carolina."
Well, I mean, just to me,
which I don't think it's going to happen.
It was now or never before the draft. I don't see us being in the top 10 pick again. But to go back to Davis, what you were talking about, I want to get you guys' opinion. What is the? Because you're saying if Sam Darnold has a bad year, and I was like, he's had nothing. I said so par for course. Like,
he just has a regular. No, but the thing is,
automatically assuming he's going to be better. Right? We're all like we're saying because of the weapon, because of coaching. There's he's going to be better. But how much better does he need to be? And if he stays the same, is that a failure? Are we expecting like, okay, you have to get better,
bro? All Sam has to be. I keep saying this, and Rashad disagrees with me. All Sam has to be is average, bro. That's all he has to be. He doesn't have to be elite. He doesn't have to be good. All he has to be is average.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you this: are you talking about for the good of the team, or are you talking about to be handed the keys to the franchise?
For the good of the team, all he has to be is average.
Okay. Yeah, I think Darnold can be average and we win a lot of games.
That's all he has to be, bro.
I want to know both. I'm talking
the thing is, Rashad wants him to be good.
We're talking about replacing him.
You're asking for too much after 1 year. Like for the first year, all that man got to be is reduce his turnover count, leverage his weapons, he doesn't have to be Aaron Rodgers.
I think Darnold's worst would be what we just had, Teddy last year.
Yeah, but like
he's a lot less careless with the ball than Teddy.
Nah, Teddy's not as reckless as him when it comes to turnovers.
Can I put it like this?
You got to watch some film.
I think Teddy trying to jump over the whole Green Bay defense like he was Cam Newton would disagree with you.
Listen, Teddy
running like the football himself was out of character for Teddy.
We have to be able to establish a downfield passing attack. Because if not, then we might as well have kept Teddy Bridgewater. Like, if Sam Darnold is just doing the same dink and dunk shit that Teddy Bridgewater barely got away with and then didn't last year, then it's not gonna be good. He has to be.
But dinking and dunking is gonna come somewhat with the offense. That's part of having Christian McCaffrey.
But the thing is,
I'm saying there has to be at least some shots.
Teddy didn't have Christian McCaffrey like Sam Darnold's going to get to have Christian McCaffrey barring injury again. So he isn't going to have to go downfield. And that's the thing people keep failing to realize. Like, everybody keeps looking at Sam like, oh, I want Sam to check down the field. Based on his statistics, no, you do not. You do not want Sam to.
It's not even that he has to be. It's not even that he has to hit a lot of down the field shots. Yeah, it's just one. The ones he does take, he has to hit, and he has to hit them in stride. No more of the DJ and Rob. We gotta come back for the ball, trying to jump over 4 people to catch the. Like, just hit them in stride where they can keep going.
But the defense has to at least fear the deep ball. They have to.
You're going to just based off of our personnel. If you don't respect,
at a certain point last year, all defenses knew even if DJ or whoever was wide open down the seam, like Teddy wasn't going to take those shots, man. So what I'm saying is Sam at least has to threaten them. We don't have to be, chucking it downfield all the time. And you're right. He was heavily turnover prone in his time with the Jets. And we're hoping that our shorter passing game will be able to fix some of that stuff. But I maintain we have too much speed at the receiver position. And listen, say what you want about his interceptions. Sam does have arm talent. Like the guy can throw the football downfield.
I'm not doubting he doesn't have the arm talent. I'm doubting his accuracy.
But if you look at the way our plays was designed last year and how many times Teddy didn't pull the trigger, was it really anybody close to them open receivers?
Sometimes. I do like that point by Mr. J the Six though. Like, but what is the ceiling on that though? That's my opinion. Like none of these guys you name have won the Super Bowl. They win games. They get you they get you close.
I think he'll be better. I think that's not his ceiling though. His ceiling can be better than that.
But wait a minute, is this a better
Tannehill was never as turnover prone as this guy. Tannehill had a terrible offensive line when he was with Miami. I don't think people remember how bad that line was with Miami. And even though we just signed Moton, we still don't have a left tackle.
But I think maybe
didn't get that much better.
But maybe is the better question, are those days over of a team being able to win a Super Bowl with like a Joe Flacco, Trent Dilfer type of quarterback?
No, because if you got a good defense, if you got an elite level defense, you can get away with an average quarterback.
Okay,
it's not that you have to be
like people. But the thing is, people keep saying, "Well, the Bucs just won." Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady. Why do you think Tom Brady went to Tampa? You think he went to Tampa by accident? That defense is one of the best defenses in the NFL.
I mean, on offense also.
And even if you watch the Niners when they lost to Kansas City, it's not that you have to be chucking it down the field all the time. It's just those times that you do, you have to hit, and that was the Niners' problem. Was that they were winning most of that game. It was just those shots that Garoppolo had to hit that they needed. He was off.
It was literally one.
It's not that you have to throw it down the field. I mean, really, besides Rodgers and Mahomes, nobody is throwing it 30, 40, 50 yards all game long. It's just on those shots that you do get, those 3 to 5, 5 to 8 shots that you get a game, you have to hit some of those.
I just think I got high expectations for the defense, man. I think the defense is going to be top 10 this upcoming season. Then I think that's going to benefit Sam Darnold a lot. So Sam Darnold isn't going to have to throw it downfield like that if our defense is playing top 10. He won't.
I think that's cap. I don't think you play with no torn MCL all year long.
He might have.
I think you got to pick your shots when you don't just force it just because you got the speed, but take your shots when they're there.
Yeah, again, I think it was Matt Rule who mentioned that all he has to do is just play the next down. Don't think about too much. Just what are we? Are we at 2nd and 4? Okay, but we're gonna call a play that gets us more than 4 yards for the first down. Like just operate the offense, and eventually those big plays are gonna be there. And it's gonna take some time for Sam to get into rhythm too. And I've even been saying this. I don't want Panther fans. I feel are so ready to burn down Sam the moment they feel like he's starting to suck. But I'm even saying especially early on. If we're going to throw the ball downfield even a little bit more than we have, interceptions are going to happen, man. If you can't have your, people want their cake and eat it too. If we're going to throw the football downfield, there's probably going to be some interceptions. Now, hopefully not as many. You
want 30 touchdowns from Jameis, but then you'll cry.
We're hoping that it's not that bad, but I'm just saying early on, he might throw a few boneheaded interceptions, but I think as he gets into the rhythm of the offense, it's going to be.
For me, it's just how the interceptions look. If you're having interceptions because you're trying to throw it deep, and somebody just made it over there, or the corner caught up, or whatever, I'm a little bit better with that. I just don't need the bonehead ones. Like, where was you going? You throwing in double, triple coverage, and it wasn't there at all. Trying to take a shot with your guys one-on-one, I'm not really mad about that.
That goes back to your boy Joe Brady, though. I mean, let's be real. It's gonna be about how Joe Brady grooms Sam Darnold and can he change and reprogram this guy after so much bad tape and mechanics got kind of sloppy. You can kind of see some of the videos getting a little better, but that's without pressure in his face because we know our offensive line ain't perfect. So it's going to be the platform not going to be.
I don't believe that whole I changed my mechanics in the offseason. We seen Cam do that how many offseasons? Oh, I'm doing the drill where I'm keeping my feet right. I'm done with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's different, but it just depends.
I need to see it when the bullets fly.
Because
I need to see the line.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's
and
about
the line protect that man.
Because your feet.
Or is he going to be seeing ghosts in Carolina too?
Yeah, happy. You can't get happy feet in the pocket. It's not going to be clean every time. So I just I made a point a while back, but like if a lot of things that Sam Darnold does is make mistakes and bonehead plays, instead of doing that, he can just check that thing down to like Christian McCaffrey. I'm glad they've been practicing together, taking these blurry jumps.
And David keeps saying that, and that is true that you have to play with each other. Out there.
What I'm saying, like instead of making that mistake and just forcing it, just you got the ultimate safety blanket.
Yeah, the thing, and it always brings me back to that discussion. Like everybody's thinking that Sam's going to be chucking it down the field, but like when you look at his percentages when he chucks down the field, it's not that good. I know you're going to say it's the Jets. I get all that, but their offensive line, they've gotten improvement on their line this year. Their line was trash the past couple years. Our line ain't that much better this year. Like I'm glad.
But even as far as deep shots, I'll say Robbie got a little highlight tape with Sam.
He does.
He can't hit it deep.
And the thing about it though, David, who else did he have that can win downfield besides Robbie? I'm just trying to think. Like
nobody.
Crowder had. I mean, the best receivers had Crowder. He had Mims. Mims is okay, but Mims is a rookie.
And then I hear some people that like really like Crowder and like some
as a slot receiver, but Adam Gates has that man convinced that he's a number one receiver now, and I'm like, okay, Jamison Crowder.
Yeah, I'm not.
You hold now, like what you, Jamison Crowder? You ain't Randy Moss. You ain't.
Every single player that leaves Adam Gase goes on to thrive, man. They start living their best life after they're done with this.
Gase wasn't just. I just want to remind folks that Gase wasn't always the head coach for Sam Darnold. Let's be clear.
No, listen.
Please do not give him credit for Peyton Manning.
I'm not. The point I'm trying to make is
that's the greatest office.
People are saying, well, Gase ruined Darnold, but the thing is, Darnold was a quarterback for the Jets prior to Gase being the head coach. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to give Gase any credit for Peyton.
He led the greatest offense of all time to the Super Bowl. Period.
Peyton Manning is offensive coordinator.
Put some respect on Adam Gase's offense.
Stop it. Peyton Manning is Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
It's on his resume, though.
You can do whatever there's a lot of great things on people's resumes, but if you crap, you crap.
I'm putting that on my tombstone if I'm Adam Gase, yo. I led
let everybody know to
NFL history.
And you know what Peyton Manning will say? Peyton Manning will say, you ain't lead nothing. You were just a body. I did it all. That's what Peyton will say.
100%. And he didn't
Peyton calling his own plays. Peyton coming up with his own game plays.
Peyton was out here changing cities. Peyton was out here changing cities when he was in the dang on huddle, bro.
But that actually leads me. That leads me to a good question for all of you. Let's say, okay, now let's go in the other direction. Let's say Sam just shatters our expectations. Okay, let's say we're underselling how good Sam is. Could I make the case that this is the most impressive first-year start by a general manager in the history of the NFL? I mean, if Sam turns it on, I mean, let's just start to run through it, man. Like, if this defense turns it on,
we got to see how the draft goes. The draft goes.
And that's why we're not getting Deshaun, too, because Joe Brady trying to get a head coaching job. And it look a lot more impressive if I save Sam Darnold's career than if I get Deshaun Watson and he just ball out.
100%. 100%. But I mean,
the thing is, if Sam balls, you know what happens next? We extend
Joe Brady out.
And Joe Brady's gone. We're going to extend that man, and Joe Brady's gone. And everybody's gonna be like, "What about?" And then some people probably still beg for Deshaun, but no.
That's always been why I didn't like that our head coach wasn't our offensive coordinator, like what Eric Bieniemy would have been if we would have hired him, because then we would have never had to worry about our play caller walking out of the door, which we're inevitably going to have to happen if Joe Brady turns it on and proves to be worth it.
But I don't know if you can hand Joe Brady the keys to a franchise.
That's what I'm saying. Like, me and that dude are the same age. Like, even if he has a great year this year, dude, he could wait another 4 years to be a head coach, and he would still be one of the younger coaches in the NFL, man.
Yeah,
like
he's gonna get a head coach
job. I'm talking more so if you go from Ron Rivera straight to Joe Brady. I think a lot of our fan base would have been highly skeptic of that.
Oh yeah. No doubt. I'm just saying, like to bring it back to
now, you'll say, okay, if you're a team that hires Joe Brady now, you'll say, well, at least he's been in the league 2 years, going into his third year. He's seen NFL defenses, et cetera, et cetera.
Hey, shout out to Spook by the Door, man, for the $4.99 love bomb. I appreciate you, man. If Sam becomes successful, it'll make bandwagon fans out of some of those fans.
Not me.
Hey, look, dude, but I'm also not going to do this thing. Like, I'm pulling for Sam, and I believe that Sam can turn it around. I'm optimistic. But if he goes on to tear it up, like, that doesn't mean that I have to retroactively go back and compare him to Cam Newton and which one is better. Like, I'm not doing that.
But don't worry. Don't worry, Cody.
I'm not the fan that's going to be watching. I'm not watching the New England games. I'm not buying a Cam Newton New England jersey. I'm not like people was choosing. It was some Panther fans that was choosing to watch New England games just as much or more so than the Panthers. Like,
but then again, at the same time, you want to talk about that? There's a lot of Patriots fans up here that chose to watch the Bucs when Brady went down there.
Yeah,
I mean, I watch both. I watch both. I usually watch if I'm at home.
I live up here. So when Carolina's not playing, I'm defaulted to New England.
Yeah, I mean,
because that's what they show up here.
And I watch the Falcons on my phone. I watch the Falcons play on my phone. But during the game, I had the Carolina on TV and I had the Falcons on the side on mute, and I'll just look at it every so often.
Oh yeah, hoping that they lose, but I'm not watching Cam Newton play the Jets. Like, go Cam, go. Nah, I can't.
No, I'm not doing that.
If the Panthers haven't won a game this season by the time the Patriots come to town, and it's obvious that we ain't going nowhere, you wouldn't even pull for Cam, even in that scenario.
No.
And I rock with Cam. I've met Cam multiple times. I've met his whole family, his mom, and everything. Can't do it.
All right, respect.
I can't do it.
That's
it's about the team. It's about the team for me, but I'm not gonna.
But I'm gonna be honest.
To watch Cam Newton play football just because he's gone. Like, you can watch. I'm looking at the game just as much.
Don't worry, guys. Let me tell you something. With regards to Cam Newton up in New England, I could give you an article that I saw earlier this week.
They ready to boot him.
They better ask the question: if Cam Newton can't win the job against Mac Jones, should he even make the roster?
Yeah, but these are dumbass New England reporters that put out all kinds of dumb shit. Like,
but you also know that's that stigma of Cam, though. Remember when Cam was looking for a job? Is that Cam Newton doesn't have the kind of personality where he could be a backup quarterback? Remember that was the whole thing when he was a free agent.
Yeah. WEEI has a history up here, and so I gave him a little shout out regarding that history that they have about some certain quarterbacks that they get, certain players that they get.
When Cam playing the Buffalo Panthers, who you get? Nobody. I just watching the game.
I just said nobody. All right.
Nobody.
So,
all right. I respect it.
I want to talk about that the Sam Darnold thing, because to me, I'm not extending him after one. Like, he got to do it twice. Like, this year won't do nothing for me. He can blow it up,
bro.
That's a good point. This year. He's got to do it twice. He's got to do it twice for me.
No,
they're going to extend that man.
He's got to do it twice.
Extend that man if he balls.
Too much bad tape. Too much bad tape.
But let's go on that.
With your offensive coordinator probably leaving, you may be leaving.
Yeah,
they are not going to let that man. They are not going to let that man play on that fifth-year option if he balls next season.
Yeah, that's the age zone.
You got to pay other players too, so they can't play.
But guys, going to give you some relief for a minute. Let's say for a minute that Sam does ball out, but then Joe Brady leaves next year. Y'all don't want to see him produce. Like, okay, people want to big up Matt Ryan.
It's not about what I want to see. It's about what's being released.
Left him, like, he was never that kind of quarterback outside of that Shanahan scheme. So I think the same thing. Like, isn't there some argument to be made that you want to see Sam replicate the same kind of success with a different offensive coordinator?
The NFL doesn't work like that.
Why not?
Josh Allen is the MVP candidate in a lot of people's top 5, top 10, and he had 1 year.
Yeah, but he didn't have a bunch of bad years like Sam Darnold. He's on the come up. He's getting better. Sam Darnold is not getting better. If you're on a trajectory, we're gonna buy low. Why do you think they gave Patrick Mahomes?
If I watch Josh Allen college tape, I ain't drafting him in the top 10. Did you see that man at Wyoming?
Bro. Yeah, but did you see him now?
Bro, it doesn't. Yeah, but
he was bad his rookie year. He was just as bad as he was good last year.
Yeah, but they haven't paid him either.
But he's seen as like an MVP candidate, top 10 quarterback.
Because he balled out. Sam Darnold has shown more bad tape than good tape.
Oh, Josh but if Sam Darnold ball out, it's just the age-old thing. You don't let your quarterback play the 5th year out.
What it boils down to is
Lamar Jackson.
Look at Sam Darnold's contract situation. Sam Darnold we took his 5th year option. They're not going to let that man play on his 5th year option if he balled last year, this upcoming season. It's not happening, guys. It's not happening. If he balls,
don't say Lamar, Cody, because you know black quarterbacks are seen a little different.
More for economic purposes, David.
Okay, but no, hold on. But T-Mike, what you're saying, though, I'm saying like Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, like those 3 guys haven't gotten paid, and all of them have. I mean, even if Sam Darnold balls out this year, like I would still say that those 3 years from, not as much Baker, but Lamar and Josh Allen, they have more of a record of doing playing high-level quarterback than Sam Darnold would of that 1 year.
But that's different circumstances. Josh Allen is. We think we have a Super Bowl team. Hey, stay on this rookie deal because we're gonna add pieces that we feel like can get us over this Super Bowl hump. And Lamar is a black quarterback in the NFL. You know how that go. They hoping he can mess up so they can get him out the league, make him a wide receiver, anything like that. I think that's now Baker. I will agree with you. Baker would be the best person to use in this because Baker did have a above average year last year, and they didn't pay him. So I would say Baker.
But the thing is, Baker, even though Baker finally had a decent year, Baker hasn't been as terrible as Sam. Like, I think people are failing to realize how terrible Sam was.
That's what I'm saying. But that
would prove Aaron and Cody's point of Baker had a good year and he still didn't get paid. So why should Sam get paid after 1 year?
Yeah,
but we're different. But we have a different GM.
Is the bet Josh Allen
and a different owner too?
Best example because Josh Allen looks like that guy has it all, and he took a jump that no one expected him to make. And let's be real here too. No one, other than the blindest optimist amongst Panther fans, no one's expecting Sam Darnold to make that kind of jump. To go from what he was with the Jets.
Yeah, I didn't see Josh Allen making that kind of jump, and I think Josh Allen is coming back to earth this year.
There's a lot of fans who think that. A lot of fans think that this is solely on the Jets of why Sam is as bad as he is. And I'm going to tell you, as somebody who watched some Jet games before Gase, after Gase, during Gase, it ain't all Gase.
That's what
it ain't all Gase.
I'm not paying Sam Darnold that money right away. You saying it may be premature for all these other quarterbacks too, but they've been in the same franchise, same system, with the same team for that long. You're almost resetting the clock, and when you're hoping to reset the clock on Sam Darnold, because if you're going based off of his past, there's no way you pay him after 1 good year. There's no way. I mean,
here's a difference too, though. I think with all our cap space that we're supposed to have, how do you tell Sam that he don't deserve some of that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though.
They're going to extend that man if he balls.
But listen, because it's more so of I can understand it if he has a solid year and like he does have. Like I said, to me, I'm a pessimist on him. He's got to do it twice for me. Now they may do it like you're saying because if he has a decent enough year, that 5th-year option is fully guaranteed against the cap. So they may need that cap space. It may be more economically sound to go ahead and give him an extension. And you may be able to buy low if you really think that. Maybe you only give him 3 years. Maybe you don't give him a full extra 4 years like everybody else. I doubt if he has a decent year, his agent's going to even go for that BS because there's just a standard of quarterback negotiations that they do from a year standpoint. But maybe you don't. If he doesn't really sell you all the way, Maybe you give him a 3-year deal instead of a 4. That's maybe a little bit more economic friendly.
Yeah, like a Kirk Cousins deal.
Like a Teddy deal.
What I was
on the
say.
back
Yeah.
end, a Teddy deal. On the back end, you can get out of it if you need to and play it by ear then. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a good conversation to have, because normally it's like whoever the next quarterback up to get paid is, normally they're the highest paid, or they're going to be like at least top 5. If Sam balls out this year and really exceeds our expectations, I mean, do you want to pay him top 5 quarterback money after only seeing him balling for 1 year?
But the thing is, you're already going to have to pay him top 10. You're going to have to pay him top 10. But the thing is, guys, we're already going to have to pay that man top 10 with the 5th-year option. So you're going to have to. So if he balls out of control, he's going to have.
I didn't think the 5th-year option worked like that.
I thought it was. No, that's franchise.
That's the difference.
No,
I thought the 5th-year option is like top 10.
It's only 18 million. It's only 18 million.
18 million. That ain't top 10. Hold on a second.
It's fully guaranteed.
No,
franchise tag
making 30 million a year now, 40 million a year now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 18 million. Paul Mancini says 18 million for 2022.
Remember, Cam took 14, and they was saying like he wanted the cheapest.
No, it's just fully guaranteed, and a lot of times if you sign,
it's just fully guaranteed.
You can get a base salary that's a little bit lower to help you with some cap space. You may sign them to $25-30 million, but the base salary is not going to be that high. It's going to be a lot of bullshit fluff incentives that don't count against the cap. He's going to get that cash, and a lot of it's going to be guaranteed at signing, but
it's going to be a lot more
cap friendly. That's why they gave freaking Matt Ryan all that damn money. Now they stuck now because they kept having to kick that contract down the tire. You want
to hear a funny story? You want to know how much Sam Darnold would have gotten with his 5th-year option if he would have made 1 Pro Bowl?
Yeah, go ahead.
It goes into the 20s, right?
$23 million would have been his 5th-year option if he would have made a Pro Bowl. And if he would have made more than 1 Pro Bowl, it would have been $25 million.
Wasn't even close.
But Dave, isn't the difference?
That's why Lamar's
he gets 18 just for the 5th year.
But Dave, isn't the difference between top 10 quarterback money to top 5 quarterback money still kind of a big deal?
Yeah. Like,
that's a lot of dollars we're talking about.
That's a big gap.
30 to 40 something million.
I'm with Aaron. Look, if Sam turns it on this year, it's just going to give me more cause to be optimistic that he can do it again. So it's not like I'm going to expect him to backtrack, even though some regression is probably expected if he has a great season. But there's still going to be that part of me that's uneasy paying him all this money and potentially seeing him have to do it under a different offensive coordinator if Joe Brady goes somewhere else. Like, how bad would we feel if we pay him all this money and then he just starts to just tank and suck and regress?
But you have to think about it from the opposite. You have to think about the opposite end of the spectrum. If you're saying, hey, I finally had this one good year in my career, let me strike while the iron is hot and get this long-term deal money instead of I might come back to earth, and then now I'm out of a job. Don't nobody want to sign me. I got to be a backup quarterback. If you have a good year, your agent gonna be trying to strike while it's looking good.
Maybe, but it just depends. It just depends what Lamar and Baker and they do as far as contract, because he's in the same class. But at the same time, you may want to be like, okay, he has a better year, and the Panthers are like, they're playing hardball. They're like, we're going to buy low now. We may want to extend you, but we're not going to give you that much because you haven't proven anything. We're only going to give you a low 20 to mid at the most $20 million contract per year at the most. You know what I'm saying? They may be like, nah, we're going to bet on ourselves and do it one more time and show y'all what time it is. But so you never really know.
$18 million is good for 15th in the quarterback scale, 15th in the league. He makes just below Tom Brady at 25 mil. There's a big gap in between 15 and above.
But Sam doesn't have that kind of personality anyway. I think Sam might say, hey, get my weapons back, bring Robbie back, bring DJ back, and sign Dante, all of them, and might not want the bag.
He ain't seen no success yet. So if he sees some success, he might want that bread. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, again, especially if
when it changes when you have a good year. You know what I'm saying? He come out those 30 touchdowns and keep the
I guess you got to look also, too. What do Sam Darnold's parents do? Do they got some money? He might not be hurt.
He went to Southern Cal. Granted, it was probably fully paid for, but he just the way he looks and his persona, he seems like they got
I'm not over the fact that Kirk Cousins averages $33 million a year as a quarterback. This is the most hilarious thing ever.
Fully guaranteed.
Fully guaranteed.
He was smart though. He signed the franchise tag as long as he could, right?
Let me. I'm gonna name these quarterbacks for you guys. So top: Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Ryan Tannehill, Jimmy G in the place to be, Matt Stafford, Derek Carr, Tom Brady, and next year Darnold would fall there. Tom Brady is
Derek struck while it was hot coming off a Super Bowl year. You gonna pay me $42 million a year?
Kirk Cousins is Professor Finesse. That's what I call him. He put a clinic on.
This man got a contract is fully guaranteed.
That's 101. Professor.
He needs to teach some classes, bro.
And you know who really helped him with that? Kyle Shanahan having so much of a man crush on him. So they were always remember that was a thing. Kyle Shanahan every year wanted Kirk Cousins. I want Kirk Cousins. I want Kirk Cousins in San Francisco. Exactly. So they knew, hey, if you don't pay Kirk gonna go to San Francisco.
Yeah, I wonder how that would have turned out, you know. But
that was the rumor that's where he was going to go. That they were waiting to get old buddy up there, but I just don't see what anybody sees.
I don't hate Kirk. I don't hate Kirk Cousins.
I mean, I don't hate him. He ain't nothing special. Like, to me, it's like if the game is on the line, dude, I don't want Kirk Cousins as my quarterback.
But here's a question. If they're in a Super Bowl against Kansas City, do you think Kirk Cousins hits those throws in Chelsea to win the Super Bowl?
I've seen Kirk Cousins make more big-time throws in clutch moments than Jimmy Garoppolo. I've seen Kirk Cousins drive the ball in Seattle on the last play in back when it was one of the hardest places to play and win with Josh Dotson as his best wide receiver. I saw him go down to New Orleans, almost beat them if it weren't for Chris Thompson getting hurt, his best weapon out of the backfield. I see him lead them, Vernon Davis, to almost beating the Saints in the Superdome on the road. You know what I'm saying? Like,
shit, we see them lead his team to beat us in the clutch.
I just know that
exactly. We've seen it firsthand too. So,
dude,
Stephon
Diggs did everything in his power to get the hell away from that man, so he did not have him throwing him the ball no more, man. So it's like, I don't know. There's got to be something there, but
then on the flip side, I would play devil's advocate and say Justin Jefferson had one of the best rookie years of a receiver.
Oh, no doubt, and the numbers prove it. Like the numbers prove that he had that. That he had that kind of year. But I don't know. I see that Panther fans very differently, man. Like Sideshow Robs thinks that he can be top 10.
But Rashad thinks the same thing, bro. So Rashad,
but why not? Why? Okay, why can he not do that? Is it just because he was so bad in New York? Like, why can't he be a top 10?
Because
I guess the question is, how much do you believe in Joe Brady?
Yeah.
Because
if Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Watson, if he decides to play, if he could play, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan.
I might say you got to name 10 Stafford, better. It's easier to name 10 better than to say
like Josh Allen, like come on, like that's why.
Yeah, but I mean,
it comes down to how much do you believe in Joe Brady? We seen Joe Brady take Joe Burrow from being he ran away from Dwayne Haskins. Was projected to be a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick to go in number 1.
Right, that's right.
Believe in Joe Brady.
So, but it's almost like, and I mean, tell me if this is fair. It's almost like if Sam is good, it might not have shit to do with him. Everybody's gonna want to say, "Oh, Joe Brady's doing it." Oh man, now he's got Christian McCaffrey.
No, that defense is great.
The defense,
and especially the defense too. It's like, I don't know, man. I just think that, I think Sam Darnold, obviously, he has to prove it. And like everybody knows that. But I think Sam Darnold physically has a better quarterback build than, say, Matt Ryan or Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr. Like physically, he has the capability to do it. I mean, I don't know. Like to me, it's not impossible. it's definitely not impossible.
Top 10 is tough, man.
Yeah.
Top 10 is tough, bro.
The quarterback is high, it's top heavy. It's not that many.
Top 10 is tough, man.
I mean, I didn't say likely. Dang, I just said it's possible.
I'm not. Well, how about this? I have more faith in that he'll have a top 10 kind of stat line than that he'll necessarily look like a top 10 quarterback.
Okay, all right. I guess that's fair.
Like the first thing we got to understand is that man ain't even played a full season yet, and we out here talking he's gonna be a top 10 guy.
No. Not saying that he will. Just saying that it's at least.
No. I'm saying at the ceiling, I could see Sam Darnold having a 30 touchdown, 12 interception year.
That ain't top 10.
It's close.
It's close, but that ain't top 10. I mean, but we don't need him to be that. I stand by what we don't need him to be that.
I don't think we need him to be that either.
I don't think he'll ever be top 10. I'm not high on Sam, but like David said, I don't think he needs to be. There's a Sam Darnold. Let me say this. There's a version of Sam Darnold that can have this team successful. It may not be a top 10.
But there's a version of bring that last comment back up because I gotta say something to Seeker.
Which one? Oh, Seeker?
Yeah, let's be clear, Seeker. I was the one that said that we weren't going to take Justin Fields. I was the guy that said that Fields wasn't going to come to Carolina once that Darnold trade happened.
I knew that was going to occur. You thought
I was never for us taking a quarterback at 8. So let me be clear there as well. I'm not anti-Sam because of that. I'm not even anti-Sam at all. I hope the kid does well. My thing is we got to temper our expectations of what to expect out of a guy who was 33rd in QBR last year, and there's only 32 starting quarterbacks.
I'm pessimistic. I've been pessimistic.
I'm being real.
Like that is true. David was always on that whole "we not taking a quarterback" train.
I never thought it. And before the Sam trade, I wasn't about it. The Sam trade just confirmed it wasn't going to happen.
I think the Panthers kept on putting out those rumors like, oh, you never know, we might take a quarterback, but we all pretty much.
That was all about trying to trade down, bro.
We were trying to get those offers.
About trying to trade down.
We were trying to get those offers. No doubt.
This is what I will say about it. If Sam have a bad year next year, the way y'all seen Cody acting a fool about Trevor Lawrence, that's how I'm gonna be with Sam Howell now.
Bro, but they ain't the same though, bro. That's a big difference between. There is no Trevor Lawrence in this year's draft class, I don't think. And I've seen a bunch of them, man. I've seen but I forget the guy's name. He plays at some obscure school. No, not Rattler. The kid that plays is like NIU, I think.
It's my Malik Willis that plays at Liberty.
Yeah, that's him, Malik Willis.
Malik Willis, that dude, bro.
Yeah, dude has a cannon. Look, I know, man, dude. but there is no. Like last year, everybody knew, even before last year started, that Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields were the dude. Like everybody knew that then. There's nobody that we're really saying that about now.
I feel like about Spencer and Sam, I feel like people just want to hate on Spencer because he's cocky.
Bro,
but he's also little.
Listen,
too.
If we're out here, let's be clear. If we're out here thinking about who our next quarterback's going to be after this season, then we failed already, guys.
Yeah, but No.
I'm just saying worst case scenario because for y'all that might not know, I'm a Tar Heel fan. So to me, Sam Howell is that dude.
So, but here's my thing. If we're out here thinking if our fan base is out here talking about the Sam Howell, no, hear me out. If our fan base is talking about the Sam Howell life, Rule ain't being that coach next year, guys.
I'm not big on Howell either. I'm mad we didn't take Justin Fields, bro. I'm mad we.
I know you.
We really burned the bridge on.
No, but I like Jason Lawrence. I think Jason Lawrence gonna be.
Our period is what could have, should have.
If Justin Fields,
I mean, people still talking about we should have gave Cam a chance with Joe Brady.
But dude, if Justin Fields turned into a Pro Bowl caliber and all Pro caliber quarterback, it doesn't matter. If you can find a quarterback, a long-term answering quarterback, it doesn't matter. Like the weight in gold that a quarterback, a long-term competent all-pro quarterback holds, you can't match it with anything. Like you can't match. We
don't know what Justin's gonna be, bro. Like we're making.
I'm just saying. We don't know what JC gonna be. We don't know what JC gonna be. The number, everything on the paper tells you that he's gonna be that dude that we think he could be.
Yeah.
I think, but Justin Fields the same way. There's nothing that tells, like, you know what I'm saying? So
hey, bro, I got
some
breaking news. It's not Panther related at all, but it's worth saying. Biz Marquis died at 57 years old.
Officially this time, because it was a fake.
Right,
it was
they
a fake one
faked it
the other week.
But now apparently it's real. It's all over. It's Twitter's like blowing up about it. Damn, man, if that's true, man, R.I.P. to Biz Marquis, man.
Well, I could tell you a crazy story. Like a few years ago at the Roost picnic, he was a surprise guest. It was Dougie Fresh and Biz Marquis came out to sing Just a Friend. Yo, that was freaking outstanding.
Oh, that does sound dope.
He always had a warm heart. Dude was always passionate about the craft. So if it is true, if it is official that he did pass away, rest in peace to Biz Marquis.
Yeah, man. R.I.P.
I hope they're not playing around. Yeah, I just hope they're not playing around again.
Yo, man, they've been talking about his downfall for about a month now.
That's what I'm saying, man. You got that type of energy you put around.
So this is from XXL magazine.
They were doing that the other day. TMZ was doing it. Who else had it last time?
Yeah, everybody had it, man.
Yeah,
TMZ. I was trying to be careful.
But so TMZ put it out. Yeah, man, dude, RIP to Biz Marquis, man. But T Money had a point though. It's like you can have a stat line that's indicative of a player that's like top whatever, but then not actually be that kind of quarterback. And we ain't gotta look no further. We ain't gotta look no further. Teddy Bridgewater. Everyone wanted to jump on. Oh, he's got this great completion percentage, and his stats are through the roof, and he really wasn't doing shit. So your numbers can reflect you being a player that you're not actually. So there is some truth to that when T Money says that. I've been saying this for this entire team. It's boom or bust. I don't see this team being a middle of the road football team. I think we're either gonna suck or we're going to be gangbusters. And if we're gangbusters, I think Sam Darnold is hitting on all cylinders, making use of not only the system that he's in, but all the weapons that he has. And I think that if he does have those numbers, they probably will be indicative of his actual.
Aaron also had a good point.
I want to ask a question about. Go ahead.
Turn that up. You said I had a good point. Turn it up.
Yeah,
I would say Aaron had a good point as far as the Justin Fields thing is that if you feel like you're an up and coming team and you're not have that many chances to get that dude, then you got to take Justin Fields.
Well, here's the thing. Now, so I'm gonna ask a question for you guys. So,
here we go. All right.
Do you guys see a scenario where this upcoming season, depending on how it goes, or let's say the season goes terrible. Let's say, Sam comes out here, loses to the Jets, loses a couple games he had business winning, then the season just falls out of way, right? Do you guys see a scenario where Tepper's patience sees himself through again and decides to make a coaching change?
David, you gonna quit wishing downfall on my coach. You always try to get that.
I'm asking a question. I'm just asking a question because
But you always bringing it up though. Leave my coach alone, man.
But I'm asking a question because the thing is, I don't see a legitimate scenario of Coach Rule getting an opportunity to have a third quarterback. I just don't. Like, I think this is it for him.
But listen,
that's my thing. So like, I'm asking the question to try to prove a point from the standpoint with the fan base because we got folks still talking about trying to get Deshaun Watson. We got folks talking about let's get Sam Howell. We got folks talking about let's go past Darnold. But the reality is they made an investment in Darnold. They made a 2-year investment on the guy. So I just don't see a scenario if we're out here trying to talk about getting another quarterback next year, that Rule's going to be our coach.
All right, but let me answer that.
I don't think we're that type of market where we're going to be paying 2 head coaches at the same time.
He is a billionaire.
But listen, the Panthers made 2 big bets on Sam Darnold and Matt Rule. But let's get it straight. We made a much bigger bet on Matt Rule than we did on Sam Darnold. We paid this man a 7-year contract worth all these millions of dollars.
It don't count against the salary cap. It don't count against
the Carolina Panthers, bro. Our football team, bro. They're the ones that gave Matt Rule a 7-year contract. And also, Dave, I don't think Matt Rule can be on the bubble in his second year. Like,
any coach could be on a bubble in their second year, bro.
But like, I mean, how
they're supposed to coach in
that
year.
But imagine,
what are we talking about here?
What's the name got fired?
How about this?
We had a coach that went to Arizona and got fired after 1 year.
I can't remember his name right now.
Steve Wilkes. I remember his name.
Yeah.
But Arizona never made the commitment to
David.
We did the Matt Rule.
David.
Look,
bro, how many years inside, bro? I'm telling you, it's different, though. I'm telling you, it's different, though.
I get it.
Him and Josh Rosen got about the paint, bro. They got him.
Well, the coach from Miami, when he went 1-15, he got fired after 1 year. Cam, what is his name?
Who?
Yeah, but that's how bad the season would have to be before we start talking about Matt
Cameron. Yeah, him.
But listen, how bad would this season have to be? In my opinion, we have to be like, 1-16 or something like that to even have Matt Rule's name coming up on
4-13 would be enough.
He'll be on the hot seat after this year if he does bad. But to go to Cody's point, Cody, like I kind of like. I mean, I see what you're saying. You don't want to do that, but anybody can get it in this NFL. And I didn't mean not saying we as in like people be talking about, you don't say we, you don't play for the team. Like I say we all the time. I wasn't saying it like that. I'm saying we as in okay. Count against my team's salary cap. So I don't.
Here is the only way.
Tepper got to pay him.
True.
Here's the only way. This is the only way. This is the only way that Matt Rule can get fired. Is if you have a bad year as a team. Sam Darnold has a crazy year, and you are afraid of Joe Brady leaving, and you say, hey, Joe, we'll hand you the keys to the team and get Matt Rule up out of there, because even though the team did bad, Sam Darnold looked really good. So we want to keep that consistency, Sam Darnold looking good. That, to me, is the only way Matt Rule would get fired. Did Joe Brady took his job.
That general manager didn't hire him. That general manager didn't hire him. I wouldn't say that
because the only reason why I wouldn't say that is because
it is a mistake that
the only reason why I would say that, David, is because when we saw in Panthers Confidential, Matt Rule was running that thing just as much, if not more, than Scott Fitterer was. So I think Matt Rule got too much of a say-so for Scott Fitterer to pull the trigger on him.
That's true. It won't be him. But if as much hype and clout as y'all giving Fitterer, we probably won't know how great this offseason was for a couple of years. But if we think that he's that good of a GM and Matt Rule's just not putting it together on the field, you may keep Scott Fitterer and get rid of Matt Rule just because.
I don't see that. Matt Rule has too much.
Hire their coaches, bro.
Huh?
Like Fitterer, these GMs like to hire their coaches. Fitterer, I promise you, if the season goes bad, if it's not what they're expecting, I wouldn't be stunned, man. Like I'm telling you, I know everybody's like, well, they signed this big deal. We keep talking about how A, it ain't part of the cap. B, it ain't part of the damn. The contract doesn't matter at that point.
Because he needs the tax right. This
is what I'll tell you, David. This is what I'll tell you is that Matt Rule has so much power in this organization that Scott Fitterer got approved. He got hired because Matt Rule.
I believe that.
Not the other way around.
I believe that.
Matt Rule had to co-sign Scott Fitterer being GM for him to get that job. That's how much power.
That's also why David Tepper has made Matt Rule one of the biggest decision makers in the building. Like from the amount of Temple and Baylor players that we signed in free agency, like you can't tell me that Matt Rule doesn't have a bunch of say so in calling those shots, right? And I mean, David's right. Normally, you don't want to sign your head coach before you sign your GM because you want your GM to be a part of the process of who you hire as a head coach. So in that way, we did it backwards.
But that's part of hiring Matt Rule. Is that Matt Rule is such a great team builder. He's such a great people person. He knows to put the right. Yeah. Look at him, he's the coordinator's choice.
And that's why I'm saying, like, there is no scenario
everywhere that he's ever been. And Joe Brady, a guy who's never been a real offensive coordinator for a team at all, and is just a passing game coordinator, that lets you know Matt Rule he has a lot of power in that building.
And that's part of the reason why I'm saying, like, dude, it would have to be a bad year for Matt Rule's name to come anywhere near the hot seat, man, especially in his second year. And if you followed the trend of Matt Rule through college, he's terrible his first year. He's mediocre his second year. And then in the third year, that team is like a title contender. So we're kind of in that weird little mediocre year area unless we can improve upon that drastically. But I don't see Matt Rule going anywhere. But hey, Nick Montiero, what's going on, bro?
What's up, buddy?
Thank
Just
you,
getting
Nick.
out of the
Thank
woods.
you. All right, cool, man. I appreciate you joining us, man. I don't know how much of the conversation you've been able to see. We've basically been talking about Matt Rule and the potentials of him being on the chopping block if this season goes bad. I don't see that as a possibility.
I honestly think that Dave Tepper is going to put the pressure on him if Sam Darnold doesn't pan out.
Yep.
You know, that and
telling you guys.
Okay.
That's the last quarterback he's going to get to have. Mark my words. That's the last quarterback he's going to have.
I disagree because
I'm telling you,
if Sam Darnold has a bad year, you just say it's Sam being Sam. We know he was trash when he got here. We couldn't change his habits. It's just too much ingrained in Sam Darnold to where he's just going to be a bad quarterback. He's just
you can't keep saying that because you said the same thing about Bridgewater. You can't keep saying that. You can't keep saying that. You got to coach this guy up. If you can't coach this guy up, they're going to make a change. Yep. You can't keep saying
I don't think there's no coaching up Teddy Bridgewater. You can coach Teddy Bridgewater all day long.
I'm not rolling, man.
You can't coach Teddy Bridgewater.
His arm ain't going to get no stronger.
I'm not rolling with that, bro. You can't. It's kind of like if you got somebody and if it's like somebody at work and this somebody's having issues with everybody you're working with, and eventually they're going to look at you like, hey, you're the problem. Because it doesn't matter who I put in front of this situation, it ain't panning out. So eventually it's going to end up being you.
Yeah, but
if you wanted that argument to work, David, you know how you could have really tested that theory out? Draft Justin Fields.
Hey, by the way, speaking of which, I can go y'all. I don't know if y'all want to see this.
Now, if you draft Justin Fields and he ain't balling,
but the thing is, that's the thing, right? So that was the decision that they made.
Fields got a visor up in Chicago. He got the guns out, bro, and Panthers Twitter's drooling over this clip right here.
So here's the thing. Here's my thing. If you had the choice of taking Justin Fields or rolling with Darnold. Those were the choices that you had, and they made it.
But according to you, it wasn't really a choice.
No, that's not true because we got Darnold before the draft because everything showed all the QBs going before we picked. Now, I don't necessarily agree with all the QBs going before we picked. I feel like there was a stronger chance than everyone was letting on, but there was a good possibility that there would be no QBs left other than Mac Jones at number 8.
Yeah, that's what we were all terrified about before we traded for Sam. We were afraid that we weren't able to.
You got to remember what teams we were. You got to remember what teams we were shaky on that ended up not drafting quarterbacks. Everybody was unsure if Detroit was going to take one, but then we see how excited they were about getting over. Then a lot of people thought Atlanta was maybe going to take one, especially Trey Lance.
But how about this? If forget Justin Fields for a second. I mean, actually no. Let's say that Justin Fields does ball out, right? And he looks like a franchise quarterback. But at the same time, J.C. Horn becomes an all-pro shutdown corner, the likes of which the Panthers have never seen before. Was it still the wrong move to make? Like, if JC continues this kind of ability and with the Panthers in the NFL, like, is it worth it? Not taking the quarterback, even if Justin starts to look good?
I mean, I said it a second ago. When you say franchise, it depends what you mean. Like, is it going to be all pro? Is it going to be, you know what I'm saying? It just depends how you define that. But if he's a Pro Bowler or all pro caliber player, the quarterback's weight in gold is unmatched. You know, JC could be Jalen Ramsey, and if if Justin Fields turns out to be any semblance of what I think he can be, we're gonna be mad about it, and you're gonna be keeping a side eye looking at it in peripheral vision, Justin Fields all year. I know I am. Just mentally, it's gonna be in the back of my head because passing on that's a big time decision. You hit like Dave said.
But here's my thing. But here's my thing though. I don't think it's fair to J.C. Horn because I don't think it's about J.C. Horn. I don't think it's about J.C. Horn versus Justin Fields. It's about Sam
Darnold versus Justin.
No. That's my point. I'm gonna say he could be Jalen Ramsey. It don't matter.
JC can. So my thing is, JC's gonna do what JC's gonna do. If he balls out, it worked out for us. If he doesn't, then we can talk about him being a bust. But I don't think the quarterback situation has nothing to do with it because Fields was not an option as soon as they traded for Darnold. So if
it is Sam Darnold, especially from this fan base. It is Sam Darnold versus Justin Fields, and Sam Darnold just has to meet the expectations of his draft pick.
So, Dave, what would you have done? I'm assuming you aren't for us trading for Sam Darnold. So, what would you have done leading up to the draft?
Well, for me, like if you want to, in a perfect world, I would have just let Teddy play out his damn contract personally. Yeah. Because you've already made the decision to put that investment on the guy. I would have just let it happen and try to build him more weapons and see what happens. Because trading for Sam Darnold isn't going to necessarily solve all the problems that this team has. I know how some folks feel about Teddy Bridgewater, but from my opinion, is like you kind of like put yourself in a situation where you make the call to roll with Darnold, and this is what you're going to have for 2 years minimum. Like,
but to me, that's too much like the Ron regime. That you're not ready to admit your mistake, so you just keep truffling along with your mistake rather than making a change.
But you gotta have, but we don't know. But the thing is, like that man, look, man, everybody keeps breathing on Teddy, but the reality of the fact is that man ain't have his number one running back. Like Darnold's gonna get all the shine in the world if they start balling. And
even when he had his number one running back, it didn't change anything, man. Like you're not gonna get blood from a turnip, bro. Like
again,
look, hang on, man. Hey,
no, hear me out.
Hold on, hold on. Pause, bro. Aaron has to get up out of here. So, hey, Aaron, I appreciate you coming through and bullshitting with us, bro. Hey, plug all your stuff, man. Let them know where they can find you and the content you do.
Obviously, the main hub is the YouTube channel, Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. We're getting ready to crank back up as the season is getting ready for training camp and whatnot. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, Unnecessary Bluntness Sports Talk. Twitter, where I talk all my stuff, dunk on demand. I'm a good follow, in my opinion. You know, I retweet me and like my tweets if I was me. But so y'all follow me there. I appreciate chopping it up with all of y'all. I'm gonna try to get on as many Fridays as I can. But I gotta go watch Space. I gotta go watch Space Jam and make tacos. So
I started it earlier. I'm about like 15 minutes into it, and I had some stuff I had to finish. I'm gonna finish it tonight. I was pleasantly surprised to start, but it's definitely a LeBron James propaganda film, bro. Like, it's straight up like all about LeBron.
But so was the first. I'm like, damn, people forget. The first Space Jam was the same way. The first Space Jam was the same way with Jordan. Like, I just wonder whether that's gonna be as good. And I'm gonna probably
Jordan was the most popular person in the world, though, bro.
You can't miss.
Yeah, but Aaron, I appreciate you, bro. Y'all check out Aaron, Unnecessary Bluntness, and yeah, man, every Friday, man, come through.
Yes, sir. I'll let y'all, man. Y'all stay up.
Yeah,
man, appreciate you.
All right, man.
So my thing to finish your answer the question, Nick. Like my thing is like when you start thinking about the fact that we made that decision, and people are saying, well, Teddy was going to be terrible regardless. Teddy didn't have Christian McCaffrey. Teddy didn't have a really good defense. The defense was atrocious. The defense didn't start picking up to the end of the year. And that's around the same time the offense fell. Like, we honestly do not know. We're making all these assumptions. Sam is going to benefit from an improved defense, potentially Christian McCaffrey coming back, and potentially having more weapons. That's my opinion on the situation. Now that being said, I want Sam to do well. I hope Sam does well. But, the coaching staff is going to be laying with Sam. Like, Sam's going to be the guy for at least 2 years. Like, it's just the reality of the fact. So we got to quit talking about Justin Fields, why we should have took Justin Fields. That ship is already gone. We got to get over that. We shouldn't be talking about Sam Howell. Like, if we're talking about Sam Howell, we need to just blow this shit up now. Like, we should just blow it up now.
Those two players now.
Teddy, at the end of the day, has limitations. I can coach.
But we don't know what, dude.
I can have all the weapons in the world unless you gonna shoot steroids in Teddy Bridgewater's arm, he ain't gonna be able to hit a ball 40 yards down the field.
I
can coach him every day, all day and night. I can give him Randy Moss, T.O., Jerry Rice.
Listen, bro. Teddy Bridgewater did something that Sam Darnold couldn't do. You know what that is?
You can win with Teddy. I'm not saying you can't.
No. Hear me out. No. Teddy Bridgewater did something that Sam Darnold could not do. You want to know what that is?
What?
Get Robbie Anderson 1,000-yard receiving season. So, like, you can't be out here always killing Teddy when the reality is the one common denominator they had was Robbie, and Robbie hasn't had 1,000-yard season until he came to Carolina this last season.
Yeah, but who is?
I would say Adam Gates more so than Sam Darnold.
I second that, T-Money. I second that. You got to look at the scheme. While Joe Brady, he wasn't perfect.
First of all, if you listen to what Robbie said himself, he said with Adam Gates, all Adam Gates let me do was run go routes. He didn't let me run slants. He didn't let me run ends. He didn't let me do a lot of that kind of stuff. Until Carolina lets me run all the kind of routes that I want to run. They let me play on the outside and the slot. I mean, you got to listen to Robbie himself on that.
Everybody keeps bringing up this 0-8. Like, the defense wasn't atrocious at times. Like, we couldn't stop a damn code when we needed to stop a damn code.
Nah, but he's talking specifically about there were 8 different games where at the end of the game on the final drive, Teddy Bridgewater had the ball in his hand and didn't do shit with it.
I'm not even having that discussion with nobody else.
Throws you can't make the arm talent throws to the sideline. And listen, like I don't want to be a hypocrite because Sam Darnold has a lot of proving to do, and no one's denying that, man. And like that's why I'm not mad at any of y'all for being a pessimist. It's like, no, you got to make me see that shit before I believe it. So I understand where you're.
At the end of the day, you can have knocks. You can have knocks on Sam Darnold's game, but you cannot have a knock on his physical.
Right.
Teddy can have everything in the world. At the end of the day, Teddy's arm strength, if you rate it among quarterbacks in the league, if it's not the lowest, it's probably one of the worst. Again, unless you're gonna shoot steroids directly into his arm talent not getting no better. Can you win games with a quarterback like that? Yes. But
David, let me ask you this.
Say that Teddy's gonna become this amazing quarterback? No, he never will be, and he never was going to.
David, let's say the Broncos don't trade for Aaron Rodgers, and it's just a battle between Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. You picking Teddy Bridgewater to beat out Drew Lock? Okay. Do you think he does anything special with the Broncos this year?
I think,
and even that quarterback battle comes down to: do you believe your defense is good enough, which Denver may, that you don't just don't have any turnovers, or do you take the better arm talent and start Drew Lock because he can make bigger plays for your offense? That's what that quarterback battle will boil down to.
Bro,
but you don't trade for Teddy. You don't trade for Teddy Bridgewater if you think Drew Lock's your guy. I don't give a damn what you say. You don't trade for Teddy Bridgewater.
They traded for Teddy Bridgewater, and if Aaron Rodgers say, "Get me out of here and trade me to Denver," Teddy Bridgewater will be cut or a backup.
Dunzo.
He'll be a backup.
Lock will be the one out of here. Imagine trading him to Green Bay.
Hey, could we just say this though? Drew Lock against the Panthers look damn near like Patrick Mahomes, bro.
Like, I wonder why. Wait, stop. But I wonder why. I wonder why he looked like Patrick Mahomes. I wonder what happened.
I'm not saying our defense didn't have a way to go, bro. But that's not all on Bridgewater, though.
But even on that,
that was his greatest game against us without atrocious defense.
No, David don't get to do that because here's why.
Why? What are you talking about?
Let me say this. The defense. Remember when they had that turnover and strip sack Drew Lock. Put you in a position where it should have been 7 easy. Where was we at? We was already in the red zone. What did Teddy do with that? Did you get in the end zone, Teddy? No. And I'm done having that argument with Teddy in his clutch moments and how bad he looked in the clutch. For now, I'm not having that argument with nobody. If you didn't watch my video where I broke down each loss at the end of the game, whose fault was it? Teddy, the coaching staff, Joey Sly, because we give Joey Sly a pass. I don't understand why we're not looking for another kicker. But a lot of those was Eddie making mistakes.
Bro, Drew Lock went 21 for 27 for 280 yards and 4 touchdowns against our defense.
And we were still in that game.
And no picks.
Yeah, that is true. We were still kind of.
We were still in that game.
We were in so many of those.
But that's inexcusable for a defense, bro. You let one of the worst quarterbacks in the league have damn near a perfect quarterback rating.
But that's what I would say. It's not that they always play perfect, but they did step up in key situations to give us a chance to win the game. The Kansas City game, they gave up how many points? They gave up 30-something points. But when we needed them to step up,
I expect that against Kansas City. I expect that against the Chiefs. I expect us to do that. It's Patrick Mahomes.
What I will say is to that is your defense scored 14 points by themselves against Minnesota, and we still lost that game.
I'm not talking about Minnesota. I'm talking about Drew Lock.
Let me get Nick in here real quick, and let me say one thing before Nick goes. Remember when PJ Walker played for us against that Detroit game? When PJ was able to make some of those down the field throws, it gave our defense a brand new energy, and we pitched a shutout in that Detroit game. It was 20-0, man.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Cody. But the thing is, so we all agree that at the start of the season last year, our defense was terrible. Okay, for the first, let's just say 6 or 8 games, our defense was not there. Okay, so we all, I think it seems like we all agree on that, and that the defense got better later on in the season.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
What about Denver's wide receiver core? How do they match up compared to us? Apparently,
Jerry Jeudy was a rookie.
Yep.
KJ Hamler had the game in his life.
KJ Hamler balled. And KJ Hamler had a lot all year.
I'm talking about the entire season though, because I'm looking at the stats right now comparing Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock, and the stats aren't even close. Like Teddy's on paper, Teddy is a better Bridgewater or better quarterback when you look at the completions. But how does their wide receiver core stack up against ours? Because at the end of the day, yeah, the guy has to throw the ball, but the other guy has to catch it too.
Well, Sutton's going to be back too. Sutton was hurt last season. Sutton's pretty good. Yeah. Hamler's pretty good. Jerry Jeudy's going to be in his second year. He should be making strides. I don't think their receiver score is as good as ours by any stretch.
If Teddy, let me ask you this, David. Let me ask you this: if Teddy Bridgewater starts for Denver, are they a threat to Kansas City?
Hell no, but none of them are.
Are they a lot to be? Are they a lot to even be in second place? And they have you look at their weapons. They have Melvin Gordon, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. They have weapons
because Justin Herbert should be making strides as a quarterback. So I think it's going to be KC, then LA, then Denver, then the Raiders.
Denver really could be behind could be behind Las Vegas.
Nah, they're better than Las Vegas.
But the question is, who do you trust more as a quarterback, Derek Carr or Teddy Bridgewater? I'm taking Derek Carr.
I've seen an MVP caliber year out of Derek Carr.
Yeah, right. At least you're seeing something.
But the problem is Denver's got a better defense, and the thing that the Raiders might have over Denver is that run game and the tight end, right? So I mean, I think Denver's going to be a little bit better than the Raiders. But the problem is we're talking about fighting for third place in that division, bro.
But wait a minute. Okay, I asked this question earlier, and I don't think I ever really got an answer out of everybody. And I want to hear from Nick too. Okay, let's pretend for a moment that Sam Darnold does pan out in a big way, and all of the moves that we made in the draft and free agency. Let's say this team hits, right? Can I not make the argument that this is one of the best all-time starts for a general manager ever in Scott Fitterer? Because, again, he has to prove it. We got to see it all come together. But right now, it wouldn't surprise me if this is some of the best first-year GMing that we've ever seen. I'm going to go out.
In Carolina?
Yeah.
Yes.
For Carolina, yeah.
I mean, maybe, of course here in Carolina, but I would say, again, maybe it's a good discussion.
Not all time.
But again, how many other GMs have stepped into their first season and completely turned around a football team with the moves that they made during that offseason that they were hired.
It's probably some first-year GMs that's won the Super Bowl. So I mean,
we gotta do some more history lesson on that, because when you think about like turnarounds when there's a coach, when they get rid of the coach and the GM and bring in a new GM and coach, we've had a lot of turnarounds in the NFL. That's tough. I think for the Panthers, I would say absolutely, because then the only argument at that point would be, because the thing is, most of the time when we get a new GM and a new coach, the first year tends to be rocky. It's typically the second or third year where we start shining. Yeah. So, I mean, from that standpoint, I would say for the Panthers, yes.
All right.
Nick, I wanted to make a point too about because David keeps trying to get my coach fired.
No, I'm not firing. I'm just trying to look at the scenarios, man. It's just it doesn't.
What did Ron's? If you remember, what did Ron's first 3 years look like? 6-10, 7-9, 7-9.
That's a good point.
He's the best coach. I mean, I don't have no argument. He's the best coach in Panthers history, 2-time Coach of the Year winner, and he started 6-10, 7-9, 7-9. And remember, even back then, with our fan base, it was always they would go on that winning streak at the end of the year where they would win 3-4 games and then end up 7-9, and people would be like, "Well, should we fire Ron? Because they were bad for most of the year before they went that little winning streak."
But the difference is, all right. So did we see that with Rule though? Have we seen that with Rule? I mean, 6-10, 7-9, 7-9. That's fair. But yeah, Ron closed the season stronger than Ron turned around and won 3 straight division titles.
But hold on, his point remains the same though. That the start, the trajectory is similar. I wanted to get Nick in on this. Nick, what did you think about this question?
Using Matt Rule as kind of like the base, or I'm sorry, what's his name there?
Fitterer.
Ron. Using Rivera as the baseline. I mean, that's pretty low. That's like using Teddy Bridgewater as the baseline for quarterback.
But here's the other.
Not in Carolina history.
T-Money. But before you go on the attack there, here's the better question for you. What was the record the season prior when Ron took over? Before Ron took over as coach, what was their record? They were 2-14, bro.
Yeah.
That was arguably the worst team that we had. I think the 2-14 team was worse than the 1-15.
Not talent-wise, it was Jimmy Clausen.
But my point is that we were. But the point was we were 2-14. We were 2-14, and Ron went 6-10. So Ron left. Ron got fired mid-season. We ended the season 5-11, right? Matt Rule comes in. What are we? We're 5-11. No improvement. Same record as before.
Jimmy Clausen to Cam Newton is a 4-game swing, though.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is Ron inherited a much bigger mess than what Rule inherited, is my point. Ron inherited a much bigger mess. Yeah. So that's my Rule was able to decide to let Cam go, bring in Teddy. Teddy don't work out, bring in Sam. Like Ron had to draft a rookie quarterback. Ron inherited a mess. I think
Matt Rule said he tried to
to add on to what.
But he already had him.
Hold up. To add on to what Dave is saying, and we had an incompetent Marty Herney signing all these bullshit contracts on top of it too. So there is something to that, at least.
But
just saying, man.
I'd love to see us shine next year. But I think the O-line is going to be what's holding us back. I think the O-line is going to hold us back more than Sam Darnold ever could.
So why? Go on that a little bit. Why specifically? Do you think? Is there? I mean, obviously we can all say left tackle, but like what specific? Is it just that position or what specifically?
Matt Paradis at center. He's not showing out the way that we want him to be. Okay. We didn't spend enough draft capital on the O-line, and our O-line was not the best last year.
I'll argue against that. I think we spent enough draft capital on the O-line. The problem is I don't think we spent enough draft capital on tackle. Like we drafted a couple linemen. We picked up some in undrafted free agents. We got some linemen in this draft run, but we just didn't fix the left tackle problem. They're fine with starting Cam Irving.
We didn't draft anyone for the O-line high enough, in my opinion. We should have gotten someone for the O-line in the second round, or even possibly first round.
But I think talent-wise,
Sewell was the pick if Detroit didn't take him, man.
Was Slater, man? We could have had Slater. Slater went at 13.
Not over Horn.
No.
Not over Horn.
But I don't know why y'all are shaking your heads like you didn't have the most dominant left tackle face or the left tackle film all of last year, bro. I'm telling you. Like I was right on Justin Herbert. We're going to see what happens this year with Slater playing for the Chargers. That's a bad boy, y'all. And y'all going to find out the hard way, okay? That's another pick that we need to keep our eyes on, because if Nick is right, and left tackle is trash for us this year, and meanwhile Rashawn Slater's out there balling in the AFC West, then bro, that's another player we gotta keep a track on, not just Justin Fields, man. So again, like Nick is right that so many Panther fans wanted us to
at the end of next year, you can have an all-22 breakdown.
Wait, say again. You were kind of breaking up on my end.
I said, well, at the end of next year, if you want, we can have an all-22 breakdown of Slate State. Yeah.
Let's do it, man. I think he's going to be good this year, man. I'm willing to back up all my claims, no matter how outlandish. If I end up being wrong, I'm wrong. But from what I saw from him, what he did against Chase Young and a bunch of other really good players, I didn't care about the short arm argument. I thought he was a dominant left tackle.
I want to hit up Kevin real quick because I want to make a comment about his little thing about first overall inherited the first overall pick. Let me be clear on something, man. There's a current GM in the NFL right now who thought that Blaine Gabbert was better than Cam Newton, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Some folks legitimately thought that we weren't going to take Cam Newton at one.
Hey, bro, how about the GM for the Bears?
You got to make the pick.
The GM for the Bears picked Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, like
and that dude still has a job too.
Yeah, so my point is that you can say, well, he inherited the number one overall pick.
Well, he saved his job this year by taking Justin Fields.
He did. He sure as hell did. Because let me tell you something. Dog, Mitch Trubisky was bad, bro. That was
terrible.
Hey, whoa. He's a North Carolina quarterback. Let's not go too rough.
No. That's maybe why we don't need Sam Howell, brother.
Hey, man, look, if Deshaun had turned out to be a bust in the NFL, I would have to say, hey, man, my Clemson Tigers are a bust. But that didn't happen, man. As of right now, UNC has not put out a top level, like big time quarterback like that. And there aren't many schools that do, man, that put out those top flight quarterbacks. I don't know, man. It's definitely
if Alabama of all places can't do it, we ain't gonna knock North Carolina.
Well, the thing is, Deion Sanders made a valid point when they were talking about Mac Jones and was talking about where Mac Jones went. It was like, listen, man, Mac Jones don't know how to work around a bunch of dogs where you got to do in these smaller schools. That's why Trey Lance got drafted higher than him, because he had to work around people that might not necessarily be talented than him. Alabama's got everything around Mac Jones. Got a freaking Heisman winning wide receiver, phenomenal defense, outstanding offensive line. But when you get drafted that high, you're not necessarily going to have all those pieces around you.
What do you guys think is the pecking order on how the QBs are going to play out? Those top 5 QBs. I mean, how do you think they're going to rank in terms of each other? Do you think they're actually going to rank out in the order that they were picked? Or going to be different?
Do you mean from this draft that just happened? This year's draft?
No. Yeah.
Dude, I think Trevor and those playmakers that
are we talking team success? Are we talking about stats? What are we talking about?
Yeah, why don't we keep it easy with stats? I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's all going to really.
I think it's going to be Lance, bro. I think Lance.
But
stats wise, it might be Cody's boy. It might have the best looking stats, or Fields. But team success wise, it would probably be the Fields and then
it'll be 49ers. It'll be San Francisco.
Well, I mean, Trey Lance is easily on the better roster of all the quarterbacks.
He is.
So with that in mind, the offensive line and his abilities and the play caller, like it's not going to shock anyone if it's Trey Lance, straight up. And I really liked Trey Lance in the draft process. Again, man, y'all can call me a Clemson homer all you damn want, dude. I think Trevor's different. I think that some guys are just born with that it factor. and Trevor Lawrence is. And they got playmakers down there too, man. I forget half their names, but
I like DJ Chark down there.
DJ Chark is a
I like Chark.
Yeah, he ran like a 4.35 at the combine. He's like 6'3". They got LaVisca Chenault, and they got Travis Etienne down there too, bro.
They still waiting on LaVisca Chenault to turn into something. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen.
True, but last year was his rookie year, I think.
But you know who's a lot of people's NFL comparison for Terrace Marshall is DJ Chark.
For Terrace Marshall,
that's not a bad comparison. Chark's good.
Yeah. I think Chark. Yeah, but Chark's a little bit bigger than Terrace, but I think Terrace has better hands.
I mean, like when you talk about stat lines, I think Trey Lance has the best opportunity to succeed and outshine them all. Fields is going to have a pretty good shot too, depending on what happens. I mean, some people are still talking about in Chicago that Dalton's still going to be the starter going into the season. So it's all about opportunity too. Like we know that Trevor Lawrence is going to start. We know that Trey was looking like
even with Trey Lance. I mean, it's not like he's coming as an automatic day one starter. They might rival Garoppolo.
But it's not going to be long before Justin Fields starts either. I don't give a damn what they say about old redhead up there, bro. They like. That ain't lasting that long, dude. It's not gonna be dope.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like,
the biggest reason why is your coach and your GM might get fired if y'all have too bad of a year.
Well, the thing is, Mac Jones for New England. A lot of the Patriots fans want Jones to start. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Cam's gonna start the whole year personally, unless he gets hurt. It's just, but if somehow Mac Jones ends up winning that job, then you would think that he would have an opportunity to shine as well. But I don't see it. But
I've not met a single New England fan up here that wants to see Cam start over Mac. Not a single one, man. I mean, I
do. I know one, man. I know one. I live up here too, bro. I know one.
Oh, you do? Whereabouts do you live?
I live in Rhode Island.
Oh no shit. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So,
like my partner for the show lives in Charlotte, but I live in Rhode Island. I'm from the Carolinas, but I'm from South Carolina. But I know one fan that's rooting for Cam to win that job. Everybody else wants Mac Jones. Everybody else wants Mac Jones, bro. Fans want Mac. They did not want. They were pissed. They were pissed that Belichick re-signed Cam.
So since y'all both live up there, is it just that they equate all of last season to just Cam being inaccurate and terrible?
Nick, can I say it? I want to say it. Can I say it?
Go ahead, buddy.
The fan base up here is a little bit racist when it comes to black quarterbacks.
Because he's black. That's it. Because he's black. Yeah.
The fans up here, they don't want to admit it. They don't want to admit it, and that's fine. But the reality is, the fan base kind of they don't have too many black quarterbacks up here. They kind of treat some of the black players in other sports like trash too. But it's just, it's a history thing with Boston being known as the most racist racist city in the country and stuff like that. It's some of that. Like, there's no reason why you could think that.
I definitely think that you're right that it plays a small role in it. I don't think it plays a huge role.
I think it's bigger.
A lot of it is his attitude.
But the thing is, Cam, like the team voted him as a captain in his first year.
Yeah.
Like, and when they signed Cam, people legitimately thought that Jarrett Stidham was going to beat this man out. Like the analysts and the folks up here legitimately thought that Stidham was going to beat Cam out. Legit, straight face, articles, everything.
Right. No,
and they was from when he first got there. Oh, why is he dancing in practice?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Hey, but listen.
They didn't understand Cam from the get.
So, Dave, I definitely agree with you. And listen, I've met like Red Sox fans and shit. Like, Boston fans are crazy, man, of all those sports teams. And like there's definitely a large part of them that just aren't rocking with the black quarterback. But to play devil's advocate, though, and I'm just going to keep it a buck with you, man. I live here in Charlotte, and I've met so many black dudes that don't rock with Cam Newton, man.
Yeah.
That don't. I mean, like I've talked to some dudes here before that, man, and they claim to be Panthers fans, and they didn't have nothing good to say about Cam Newton, man. So
that was because of
my thing is
lack of consistency, though.
Yeah, but my thing is this with Cam, man. Like,
Yeah.
Cam even admitted that he hasn't been healthy since 2016, right? So from that standpoint, he said this is the healthiest he was coming into the.
He says that every offseason. I'm tired of that too. Cam, stop doing. Cam, don't make. Somebody need to get in his ear. Don't make another one of them. This is my year, the revenge of Cam. Just
because now it's starting to look tired. And
here's the thing, man. Here's my thing. Like Cam rushed for like 12 TDs last season for the New England. That was like the second most in his career. Before he caught COVID, he was balling. He was having a pretty good year prior to COVID. Like he was having a really good year. Like I don't know if he'll ever admit that COVID might not have been a factor.
He did he was on Brandon Marshall in them podcast.
Yeah. So but the bottom line is that man didn't have an off season. He still won the starting job, even though when the whole media was thinking that Stidham was going to win. And now we draft this quarterback. Now they draft this quarterback because it was a good value at the place where they got him because he was sitting there at 15. And now everybody's assuming that Mac Jones is going to start. And even Bill Belichick keeps trying to let folks know, bro, he ain't won this job yet. Cam's still our starter, and he has to show it. And even when Cam got hurt during OTAs, he doesn't look that good.
This.
Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
So, first off, Cam hasn't been himself since, really early in 2018 or 2017, one of the two.
Yeah.
So, everyone up in New England has only seen that. So, that plays a role in how they feel about Cam. A small role. But the other thing is, too, we got used to Tom Brady up here. Everybody sees the stats. Everybody's used to New England teams winning every season. Look at who they had last season in general. They didn't have Jack. They lost.
Well, here's the thing.
To COVID.
But here's the thing, too. Bill Belichick even and it's rare that Bill Belichick goes off on a press conference after a game over, after a loss. But one of those pressers, man, he pretty much laid it out. He was like, look, man, we had one of the worst cap situations in the NFL. We only paid Cam $1.5 million. We lost the most players due to COVID because a lot of them opted out. Of course, we're going to have a down year. I don't think it's fair to try to put all this on Cam. And that's why they re-signed him. They didn't just re-sign him for their health because they didn't have to.
Yeah.
They knew that Stidham wasn't going to be the answer. So
also remember, fans outside of Panther fans, they don't get all the context that we've had to tell people for years about terrible offensive lines and Kelvin Benjamin's fat ass not being able to separate or catch, or just all the things that Cam has had to overcome here. Like, if you're a diehard Panther fan, but if you're a Patriots fan, you don't give a shit, dude.
All I'm gonna say is
when it boils down to practice. I mean, when Cam's dancing and stuff in practice, we know that it came from Cam stretches and stuff already before he even comes outside.
Yeah.
Other fan bases don't know that.
Listen, all I'm going to say is this. Cam Newton had the number one job, the toughest job in the NFL last season.
No doubt.
He was following the GOAT. So there was nothing that he could do to make those fans happy.
And he got COVID, and he signed and he didn't do the training camp and all that shit.
Even if they went 12-4, made the playoffs, and didn't get to the Super Bowl, the fans wouldn't have been happy either way. So they're gonna pound that guy regardless.
And who did Cam have thrown to? Who did Cam have to throw to? Julian Edelman?
His number one wide receiver wants out, which is the most hilarious shit ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did y'all see that too? Keanu Neal, or what's his name? N'Keal Harry or whatever.
Yeah.
His trainer was taking shots at Cam too. He's like, "Hey man, Cam,
y'all see who we had last year? Y'all see who we had last year? He had the Birdman last year."
Oh man, don't tell Tony that, man. He'll get mad.
He must be more accurate, but he had one of the best deep throw percentages in the league last year.
He sure did.
Yeah.
How about
and again, give him the benefit. Listen, I'm the number one Cam fan defender.
Give that man one more year with some help.
Yeah, listen,
give that man one more year with some help. I'm telling you.
Wrong. That's what I'm saying. But I agree with T Money when T Money says as a big Cam defender, I'm also tired of hearing "Hey, bro, this is my year. I'm healthy now. I'm gonna do this shit." Bro, don't tell me about it no more. Just do it. Like, don't tell me about it. Don't make no videos about it. Just do it, because what happens is if it doesn't work out, then now you're on record all these years in a row saying, "Oh, I'm healthy for the first time ever. I'm healthy as I've ever been," and then it don't pan out. Like, it just makes him look bad.
He said that last year. It makes it on a treadmill. Remember, he was making all them videos running on a treadmill every day.
Yeah, dripping sweat. Yeah.
All I'm going to say is this: the Patriots have a shot to win the AFC East, and there's only one quarterback that can get them there, and that's Cam. They're not winning it with Mac Jones. Period. Point blank. Let's be clear. 100%. Let's be clear there. So, like, the fan base out here want Cam gone, then y'all don't want to win that division. Your best shot is with Cam. Period.
Yep. Especially with Josh Allen up there now too, man.
Period.
Who knows what Zach Wilson and
listen, I'm an advocate of seeing the downfall of the Patriots. I am an advocate of this shit. I would love to see it. So go ahead and bench Cam if you want.
Yeah,
I'm going to enjoy watching the Patriots falter, because Bill's legacy is set. Everybody's talking about, like, well, we can't do without Brady, whatever. No, Bill said.
Well, this is what I was saying.
He's the GOAT.
Is that Brady winning the Super Bowl that fast did start Belichick's clock. Belichick got about 3 years that if he don't win a Super Bowl, Kraft gonna make him retire.
Dog, Bill can stay there as long as he wants to, bro. He can stay there as long as he wants.
This is the same. Robert Kraft is the same dude.
He's a legend, bro. He's a legend up here, man.
Robert Kraft is the same dude.
Bill's get the lead on his turn.
That's cap.
I'm telling you.
Kraft is the same dude who was willing to get rid of him if he would to replace Brady with Garoppolo.
Well, but here's
he don't got all the power that you think he does.
No, the same thing I said. The same thing I said for Matt Rule. The same thing I said for Matt Rule earlier is the same thing that goes for Belichick this year. Nothing will happen to them this year. If Bill Belichick is not able to develop Matt Jones in the next 2 or 3 years, then I could easily see that being the case.
Bill has 6 championships, bro. Six. Yeah, 6.
And Brady won all of them.
No doubt.
Brady has.
But that's even more though. That if you already have 6, but if you already have 6 and you're trying to do some new shit, then you'd be like, "Hey, Bill, you ain't got nothing left to prove. We're gonna do something different." And by the way, Bill Belichick, even still, no matter how old he would be, he'd be able to get a job anywhere in the NFL. So I think that they both would want to part
New England, man. He'll be
but
there.
Listen,
he's not New England. But they won't fire him. But they'll say, "Hey, Bill, just say that you retired, so we don't have to fire you."
Yeah. All right. Yep. So I wanted to ask one more question, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. I appreciate you guys all for coming and hanging out with me. I want to let everybody know this is an every Friday thing. To everyone in the chat room, everybody listening, every Friday I'm doing these free-for-alls, and it's for anyone that wants to come in. Any of the fans in the chat room, I always make sure I post the link to the Streamyard in the description. I appreciate y'all hanging out. 37 people. Hit the like button if you haven't already. My last question, and then we'll get out of here. Any chance Will Grier gets cut? Now, this isn't my specific question. My question is this. Who is more likely to get cut? Will Grier or Greg Little?
Oof. Oh, that's easy. That's Grier.
So you think Grier is closer to being chopped before Greg Little?
Yeah.
Only because they have more trust.
They're going to just keep 2 quarterbacks. They're going to keep 2 quarterbacks.
I don't think he can.
All right, so then directly.
I think they're both getting cut. Let me be clear, but if you're making me pick, I'm saying Grier.
Okay, so
I think Will Grier, but only because we're so unsure at left tackle where we might have to throw anybody out there. Will Grier, you have a little bit more faith in PJ Walker and Sam Darnold than you do in our choices at left tackle right now.
Yeah. Okay, well, Nick, what say you, man?
I'm going Greg Little. This is the last year on PJ's contract, and do you really think that he's going to want to stay here whenever we know the guy can at least place better than Teddy Bridgewater? Do you really think he's going to stay here and be a backup behind Sam Darnold?
Yep. I think the only not starting nowhere else.
If PJ don't stay in Carolina, PJ out the league.
Can y'all remember though? Y'all do remember that we traded up in the second round to go get Greg Little.
So But we didn't. But
like
didn't trade up.
Round pick, right? But that's even more. Greg Little comes from a previous regime. Fitterer didn't draft him. He was a second round pick, and right now we don't even think he has a place on our starting offensive line.
He ain't making.
That's y'all. I maybe because I've met him. I got faith in Greg, man. Greg can turn it around, bro. Shout out Greg.
Where? What position?
Greg is one concussion away from being out of the league, bro.
So you think Greg Little could still be our left tackle?
Potentially.
No.
I ain't giving up on him, man.
No
bro,
way.
you might like him a little bit too much, bro. He might have.
Hey, I met Greg.
I would love for it to happen. Because I'm gonna be honest, bro. I would love for it to happen. Because I think talent-wise, he probably is our best option. But the problem is he can't get on the damn field, man. And I think that's what's gonna be his downfall.
And why is that for? It's not even like he was injured. It's just like he wasn't even good enough to warrant a spot.
Well, it seemed like he had one of the Michael Orr concussions.
Yeah, he was hurt. He's a concussion away, bro. But
if that's true, that's not a good sign. And it's his third year in the NFL, and he's already having problems. That's a problem, man.
I know.
That's a problem.
That's why I don't think neither him or Greer is going to make this team. Because you don't pick up as many linemen as you did if you're going to be keeping Greg Little around.
I think Greer has more of a chance of staying on the team than Little does.
So, all right. So, how about does PJ beat out Will Greer?
Yes. Oh, every day of the week.
Yes.
But at the end of the day,
but I think for Nick, it's more about if we keep 3 quarterbacks, then that's going to automatically keep Greer around. I just don't think we're going to keep 3 quarterbacks this year.
I think we will have to. What did you say earlier? Sam Darnold's never finished the whole year.
We don't have to.
Yeah, but even still, this is the last.
We don't have to.
This is the last year on PJ Walker's deal. We still have one more year of Will Greer. Are you really gonna put us in the spot though where we have to pick up another quarterback next year?
Well, we want to do that anyway, right? We keep talking about getting another quarterback next year anyway.
No, we keep saying let's see how Sam Darnold does.
No, but we've been talking about trying to trade for Deshaun, pick up Sam Howell.
But if we're getting another quarterback next year, it's to be a starter. We're not wanting to get another backup.
You probably will draft one next year at a minimum to be a backup anyway. If we only got 2 left with 1 year left on our deal.
How about this? None of us think that Will Greer or PJ Walker are long-term backups, do we? I mean, it's like PJ maybe.
PJ because of the Matt Rule connection, maybe.
Nah. Yeah. No, he wants that starting role. After how he played in the XFL, he wants that starting role. And quite honestly, that
if it wasn't for Matt Rule, I don't think PJ Walker is in the league.
Yeah.
No, he would have been in the
league. Where?
He would have been in the league.
He was in the league before.
He was 5-0 in the XFL. I know the XFL isn't the same talent as the NFL, but he was 5-0 in the XFL and hands down the MVP. That dude had a role on some team somewhere.
I don't think that automatically buys you a shot in the league, and a lot of people would have had the same knock that they already had on him. He's undersized.
I wanted PJ to start way earlier than him going into that Detroit game last year.
Yep.
I was so done with Teddy. I was wanting PJ just to come in and give us a spark. And that's part of the reason why I'm so excited about our defense, man. I feel like if our defense believes that they have a quarterback that will reward their aggression, this is going to be one of the most vicious, aggressive defenses in the NFL this year. I really believe that. Like, that's not just homer talk. I think this defense is big time, but they're going to have to play on our offense. And I think our offense, again, like to what Dave was saying earlier, like we don't want to be chunking the ball down the field all the time, but we need to get teams to at least fear that deep passing attack. And if we can do that, man, dude, I'm telling you, I think this defense is really going to be something. I mean, like really, truly going to be something. Do we have any unrestricted free agent quarterbacks? I don't think.
We had one, but we let him go. But then we have the guy from the Saints. What's his name? Can't remember his name right now. It's escaping me, bro.
Yeah, the guy.
Charlie Simmons.
Yeah, Tommy Stevens. That's the guy.
Tommy Stevens.
We didn't learn our lesson with Teddy Bridgewater. We have to go back to the Saints for another garbage quarterback.
Terrible, dude.
Well, do y'all remember the story of Tommy Stevens?
So what?
Do y'all remember the whole story of Tommy Stevens? So when Tommy Stevens was coming out in the draft, we wanted Tommy Stevens as an undrafted free agent.
Right, but the Saints
took
it. Sean Payton called Tommy Stevens, and Tommy Stevens said, well, I'm signing with Carolina after the draft. So Sean Payton specifically traded back into the draft and just to pick up Tommy Stevens.
On the
hey, we got him back though, because we got two of the players that they wanted this year. We got J.C. Horn and Terrace Marshall, and they wanted both of them.
Both of them.
So hey, we got the better of that exchange. I'm good with that, man. Well, boys, I think on that note, man, I'm gonna bring the stream to a close, man. We're going in on 2 hours and 30 minutes, man. That's a good podcast. I appreciate you all for coming on, man. Like again, this show isn't anything unless I get some people to come on here and hang out with me every Friday. So I'm trying to get fans to quit being so damn shy. Nobody cares if you're ugly or if you're beautiful, man. Come on here, talk some bullshit about the Panthers. No one gives a damn. I mean, shit, we all in normal t-shirts and shit. Nobody cares how you look. Come bullshit and talk about the Panthers on this Friday free for all. Appreciate my guest for joining me. Dave, shout out the Panther Nation podcast, man. Let them know where they can find y'all.
All right, we're everywhere now, man. We're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram at Panther Nation PC. YouTube is PNP, Rashad and Dave. Check us out. Join the Patreon, Panther Nation PC there as well. We give out gifts every month. We're giving out the Jets game for the MVP package this go around. So just come join us, man. It's been a wild ride to say the least. Shout out to my co-host Rashad.
Shout out PNP, man. We love what you guys are doing, and we love doing these crossover events with y'all, man. They're definitely fun. T Mike, tell them, man, you got some new stuff going on, man. I think you got a new podcast that you just started, man. Holla at them. Tell them about it.
Yeah. So me, CPG, and Kendall Francis just came out with a new podcast, the Three Panther Amigos podcast, which I got the channel set up for that. We shot 2 episodes so far, but it's just, Panther people just talking Panther football, same way as everybody else got going on. And then my channel is Mr. T Money 1993, where I talk football, gaming stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna still do the Straight Facts podcast by myself. I don't know. I gotta see how much I'm going back to school, so I gotta see how that's gonna look. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do 2 different podcasts like that. But yeah, Twitch. If you into gaming, I've been doing NCAA, 2K, Madden, where I just call the plays. I don't do none of the playing. And my Twitch, everything is Mr. T 1993.
All right.
If you hop in some fighters, you give me a call, my man. You hop into some fighting games, some Guilty Gear, some Street Fighter, some MK, give me a call. Just hit me up. Smash Brothers, just give me a call. Just hit me up.
That's what's up. Nick, my Friday free for all brother, man. I can count on you, dog. You got anything? Got anything you want to tell the people before we get out of here, man?
Feel free to add me on Facebook, Nick Montero. I'm friends with Cody on there, so you can find me there. And I'm also on Instagram under Monty's Motorsports. Big car guy. Follow me if you're into cars, trucks, Jeeps, whole 9 yards. I'm always doing something with one of my vehicles or one of my buddies.
Right on, man. Well, again, gentlemen, I appreciate you all for joining me. Listen, you can always find us Tuesday night, 9 p.m. on the C3 Panthers podcast, where we take your calls, 252-228-5098. And again, we're going to do this every Friday, man. So come back. We'll do it again. Until next time, peace and love, Panther Nation. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Right. Keep pounding.